Morning, all.
Wow. Good morning, everybody. That's right. That's why we love sports. That is why we love sports. Kirk Cousins was awesome last night. Awesome. Good look at this, man. People are ready to go this morning.
More
Morning,
so,
everybody.
more so than the hosts.
Damn.
Pretty good week. I got knocked out of the death pool because I picked Buffalo, but I'm still in the original suicide pool because I had never picked the same team. I went Seattle, Buffalo. But the suicide lost quite a few people this weekend.
How many people had Buffalo? How many had the Niners?
Looks like about 10 had Buffalo and only 3 had the Niners. Most everybody had Seattle, but there was a few morons that picked Vegas.
Wow.
Somebody picked the Rams.
Okay.
Somebody picked Green Bay.
Not nuts.
There was like 6 that had Cleveland. That should have been knocking them out too.
Here we go.
Here we go. Let's do this.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on a Tuesday in which once again we're reminded why it is we watch and we love sports. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. A lot to get to today, a terrific guest lineup, if we do say so ourselves. But first, good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm good, David. Good night last night. We had another game 7 tonight. We had a game 7 last night, and we had a hell of a football game where Kirk Cousins shows he can win in prime time. Not only win, but play brilliantly in prime time.
He was outstanding. 2-10, I believe his career record was in prime time before last night. And his very first pass of the game picked off. Wasn't a bad pass, but great coverage. Ends up in an interception. You're thinking, well, here we go. Niners are going to whack them. That's why we watch. That's why we love it. Because you just don't know. And just like that, by the way, in the pretty mediocre NFC, the Vikings, come Thursday night, they could be tied for the final playoff spot in the NFC. And they're just warming up. We talk about teams who are getting guys back. Hell, around Thanksgiving, they may be getting Justin Jefferson back. That's a pretty good trade deadline acquisition.
Got that right. And they don't play, we crowned the Lions pretty early. If I'm not mistaken, the Vikings and Lions play 2 of the last 3 or 2 of the last 4 games of the season. So they keep it on. They've got their shot at Detroit in December.
Yes, we have declared the Lions NFC North champions, though. We have. All right. And Vikings are 2 games back. If you think they got a run in them, okay, we'll see. They have won 3 out of 4. So anything's possible. Remember, the Lions were 1-6 last year. Came charging hard on the outside for the playoffs. Anything's possible. That would be a dangerous 7 seed. Wouldn't you have to acknowledge that?
Yes.
The Vikings, with a healthy Justin Jefferson and Addison at wide receiver, Kirk Cousins. How many quarterbacks in the NFC playoffs are going to be better than if Kirk Cousins and the Vikings slide in as the 7 seed? How about we just go through the list? Jalen Hurts? Yeah, most people take Hurts for a variety of reasons. Younger, multidimensional. Okay. Brock Purdy? No. No. Geno Smith? No. Jared Goff? That's a nice, healthy discussion. Right?
It is.
Tell you what, though, under that pressure last night, Jared Goff doesn't play that well. No way does Jared Goff play the way Kirk Cousins did last night, in my opinion. All right. I think Cousins' ceiling is high.
It just depends on where the game's played, David.
Well, that's a dadgum good point, Mark. Dadgum good point. Let's see. Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott.
Well, you know where I am on this one. And it's a healthy argument. It's a really healthy argument. But come on now.
Listen, I'm a Dak guy. I'd take Kirk Cousins over Dak Prescott. Who are we missing here in the NFC playoffs? Oh, an NFC South champion.
Yeah.
No, we're just, obviously
Right.
He's better than any of the quarterbacks in the NFC South. So what are we talking? So we would take one quarterback over Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff's a healthy discussion, right?
Right.
And there's a debate with Dak Prescott, but I think most people would take Cousins for just this playoffs, not for the next, 5-7 years, but for these playoffs. They'd be a dangerous team. These two teams could play again. This could be a Niner. In fact, I think, by the time this weekend is done, the Niners-Vikings could be a first-round playoff matchup in the NFC. I know it's a little early, not just in the morning, but in the year. But that's fun. That was fun. I love when we think we know what's going to happen. One team's better than the other, and the other team says, yeah, not tonight. Not tonight. Wouldn't want to play these guys 9 more times. My guess is they go no worse than 7-3 against us, but not tonight. No, ain't happening tonight.
45 times he went back and he didn't get sacked by the San Francisco 49ers.
He got hit a lot, but he didn't get sacked.
Kirk Cousins gets hit a lot most every game.
It's because he plays behind that line. He's used
Well,
to it. Yep.
He's not afraid to get hit. He's not afraid to stand there and know the hit's coming and deliver the throw.
Yep.
And that's an attribute that not every quarterback has.
And that's the guy Kyle Shanahan wanted. When he and John Lynch made the move to take over, that's who they wanted. They could not get their hands on him. And they've tried. They've tried a couple times. They cannot get their hands on him. And so then once they couldn't get their hands on him, spending the money at the quarterback position, they said, okay, we'll spend the money elsewhere and we'll try to get by on the cheap at the quarterback position. First, Trey Lance was the plan with a rookie deal. And now it's Brock Purdy,
who looked very human yesterday.
He had some moments where he was terrific, and he had some moments in which he looked like a second-year quarterback who's yet to start a full season of games.
And now he's gone from not losing a regular season game to having lost 2 in a row.
Good stuff. And you can say whatever you want about Brian Flores as head coach of the Dolphins. And clearly, if he gets another shot as a head coach somewhere, he needs to have a better relationship with his quarterback than he had in Miami. And seeing what his quarterback has done once Brian Flores got out of his life, that's more on Flores than it was on Tua. Okay, but Brian Flores is a hell of a defensive coordinator. And on the final drive, after blitzing all night, the Vikings went coverage. With the game on the line on the final drive, the Vikings went coverage. Man, I love the chess match. We don't talk about it enough in football. I love the chess match. It's difficult in a broadcast to fully get into it without sounding too gooberish. I know Troy tries. Gary Danielson, I think, gets into it a lot, into, the coaching decisions that are made and matchups and moving this guy over against this tackle as opposed to that tackle. And Mark, I am just into all of that stuff. But yeah,
well, and even within that last chess match, they go to coverage, and what happens? San Francisco makes a couple of completions. It's just like, they're starting to move the ball.
Mm-hmm. And then, Purdy throws one down the field, and Vikings are like, no, we got a couple more guys back here that we've had all day. No, this one's not going to work out well for you. So it is funny. The win against the Cowboys is the last time they won, right? Right?
Right.
When they were the 72 Dolphins after that game, right? They were the 85 Bears. They were, pick what you think is the greatest, the 07 Patriots. I mean, this was the
Brock Purdy was being talked about as an MVP candidate.
Right. And just, he's Joe Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle Shanahan's smarter than everybody else. And yeah. And that Niners defense. I mean, man, the Vikings had like 450 yards of offense last night. I think they punted once.
And it was late.
Right. And analytics said that.
And it shocked all of you guys in the booth. From what I gathered on my couch, David, you guys were all surprised as hell that he kicked right there.
Put it this way, of the three options, we thought it was third. We did not see that one coming. 4th and 4 in long field goal range. Right. Really long field goal range. Would have been a 60-yarder, but he's got it in him. And remember, we were inside. But, Mark, it was just one of those days, though. People, I mean, it was 64 degrees in Minneapolis yesterday. Now, to most people listening right now, you just went, yeah, so?
Wow, that sounds wonderful.
But 64 degrees on October 23rd?
That sounds wonderful.
When I lived in Fargo, first snowfall was before Halloween every year. Here we are a week before Halloween, and there was a sunny day in the 60s. You should have saw Vikings fans before the game. And there were a lot of Niners fans.
I can imagine 64, you get some jeans on, a sweater. Nice cool weather like that.
Mark, they had the bands outside playing. They were chanting. All right. They were in a good mood.
They were in shorts and a t-shirt.
Damn near.
We'd have been bundled up.
Yes. Yes. Remember, it wasn't much warmer inside than it was outside in late October. Folks were festive, and the game delivered. And what an amazing baseball series. Not one home team won. That's nuts. Unreal. And the fact that it happened to the Astros twice in 5 seasons, for them to lose a 7-game series having home field advantage after going 3-0 on the road in both series. That's crazy. And so the Texas Rangers, for the 3rd time in their history, and it would be very ironic if they played the Phillies, because I believe they started the season against each other and the Rangers swept them.
But this is a year where the regular seasons mattered not in the postseason.
And by the way, how much do you think Fox is rooting for the Phillies tonight?
Oh, boy. That Arizona-Texas Ranger World Series sounds like ratings gold, I tell you.
Oh, baby. Ooh, let's put the WNBA finals back on.
Sounds like a Heat Nuggets finals or something.
Well, let's not get crazy now. For as much as we tried to tell you that was a series that wasn't captivating the nation.
That's one, ladies and gentlemen. That's one. How many times Philly will use an opportunity just to drop to make it an NBA drop? We'll keep track. I have the over-under at 17.5. Miller and Moulton right here in the heart of football season. Thanks so much for listening on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The NFL is so damn unpredictable.
Yep. That's why it works.
That's why they say any given Sunday.
All right. We need a poll question today.
What is today?
Oh, it's a bunch of crap. The only one on there, it's National Bologna Day. It's actually Bat Appreciation Week.
Whoa, hold on. It's Bologna Day?
Yes. National Food Day.
What's your favorite food group?
Yes.
First off, what do you mean food? It's way too general.
That's exactly.
Vague.
No, still no Oreos, but my wife made the mistake of opening a bag of the Halloween candy, and I had a Twix, a Milky Way, and some M&Ms.
It's not SoFi, although some people like it more. I will say it is loud, the Minnesota Stadium. It's better than Vegas.
It's a really nice looking stadium
Yeah, it's a gorgeous stadium.
in the middle of Minnesota.
In middle downtown Minneapolis, too.
Yes.
And not so much the middle, but it's in downtown Minneapolis.
It's awesome. How's the parking though? Probably terrible.
Well, I walked. So, and there's mass transit that takes you right to it.
Oh, that's good.
It's a mile each way. It's good. Beautiful night. How about Dave Winfield? Blowing the horn, getting things started. I hope people saw the very beginning. It is cool. It's one of the few NFL stadiums that actually has, 5 minutes before the game, you're like, ooh, this is almost a little college atmosphere here. This is fun.
Yeah, what, Kansas City, Green Bay, Minnesota, maybe Seattle to a certain extent.
You said KC, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing you said, yeah.
DC, you don't. There's a walkway indoors, all these buildings that connect in downtown that could walk you like within a block of the place. There's a train or tran, whatever, in the middle of the city.
DC, I'm letting you go here because you're a loyal listener, and I can't say anything but nice things about our loyal listeners. But you have done nothing but bash the Minnesota Vikings all effing year. To come out before the show with Skull is laughable.
Bars.
Laughable. All you've done is rip every part about this team every morning in here for 4 hours. And now this morning, the Lions are closer in the rearview mirror. Skull. None of that was there yesterday, brother. None of it.
Ooh, he went brother. DC, he means business.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hope you had a great start to your week yesterday, and thanks for being with us on this Tuesday. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Samson at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan joins us today. We'll talk all things college football. Matt Baker, the Tampa Bay Times. It is a nice show lined up for you along the network. Since this is the baseball hour, and I don't know how many people paid attention last night, and I have to admit, there was a little TV to the left of Troy Aikman, longtime Dallas resident, all right, who every now and then would just peer over. And as he was peering over, I would go 8-2 in the fourth.
There wasn't much to see there last night.
No, jumped out to an early lead, and then early and often, boom, boom. And next thing you know, it's like, wow, unless this turns into a slow pitch softball game, this sucker's over.
Got that right.
But the most effective manager of the 21st century in the playoffs is Bruce Bochy. And if nothing, Mark, we are often copycats in sports, right?
Harder to do in baseball to me than any other sport, to be a copycat type personality. The sport doesn't lend itself to, yes, we can all try to hit home runs and we've all adopted to the new style, but it's not like we see a play in football and go, well, I can copy that play. I've got to have the guy, I've got to make the play.
But if we are to learn something in baseball from Bruce Bochy, I think, Mark, I nominate this. Yeah, the playoffs are completely different than the regular season, okay? Completely. I don't want you to judge anything we do by anything we did over those 6 months. Because, Mark, in 2 Game 7s, he has brought a left-handed starting pitcher out of the bullpen when the game was in a perilous position, when they had a significant lead and it was whittled down to 1 or 2. In the first instance, it was Madison Bumgarner in 2014. After he had pitched games 1 and 5 of the World Series, and the Giants had a 4-run lead cut to 1. And he brought Bumgarner in to start the 5th inning. And he said, get as many outs as you can. And 15 of them later, the Giants had won the World Series. And last night, when Max Scherzer, who clearly doesn't have his stuff, and he was in the process of blowing a 4-1 lead, gave up a run, and they had a run on third with 1 out. And he went out there and said to Scherzer, get this guy out, and then that's it. Don't worry about it. I'll take it from here. And who did he bring in? His left-handed starting pitcher who had started games 1 and 5. And who had been his best pitcher in the playoffs. And he gave him the ball, and he said, go as long as you can. I know it's 2 days rest. I know you're not used to this. Don't know what to tell you. It's the playoffs. Go as long as you can.
And I think part of that too is, don't know what to tell you. What he did tell him is, I trust you.
Huh.
I trust me. You can do this. That it is the one part of this that a manager has to have complete faith in his players, and the players have to understand it the other way. I mean, there is some of that there, and I don't mean to be hokey, but that's part of it.
And by the time Jordan Montgomery was done getting 7 outs, which may not seem like a lot, but trust me, when you've started games 1 and 5, being asked to pitch 2 1/3 innings in relief in 2023, any other manager in baseball going to hand the ball in the 3rd inning to their game 5 starter in a game 7? Seriously. There's 29 others out there. You think any of the others doing that? No. I mean, if there's anything to be learned by the other managers in baseball, never mind fan bases, yeah, it's the playoffs, okay? You treat every day like it's gold. You're all in every day. And if that means bringing a guy out of the bullpen to get 3rd inning, by the way, 3rd inning. He said, yeah, now's the key time of the game. We need to hold on to this lead. We blow this lead, we could be in trouble. And by the time Montgomery was done getting outs, it was 8-2. I think it might have been 9-2 even before they took the field in the bottom of the 6th. And by then, well, it was pretty much over. So that's my lesson for the day. Follow Brute. What would Bruce Bochy do? Remember for how many years we said, what would the Tampa Bay Rays do? About everything. Okay. If we were running the country, we would ask, what would the Tampa Bay Rays do? Okay. Mark, from now, when we talk to baseball,
so it's the Rays, the Chick-fil-A drive-through, and Bochy.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's a hell of a platform, by the way. I don't know how it would do in Iowa and New Hampshire in the early primaries, but I'll tell you what are you going to do? Well, we're going to convene a group together. Who? Well, the Tampa Bay Rays, Chick-fil-A, and Bruce Bochy. And whatever they decide, we're going to do.
That's a consulting firm right there. I might even trust that one, David.
Yeah, I would too. So there you go. That's my take from last night. What would Bruce Bochy do?
And Jordan Montgomery getting the win, going 3-0.
And they blew game 5 for him. It was 4-2 lead in the 9th, and he gave it the 3-run homer the closer did to Altuve. I mean, he pitched great. I think he's a free agent too.
Nice resume tape he's putting together.
Yep. And not only that, their big free agent signing, the pitcher who was going to be their ace. Yeah, he pitched 6 games this year, Jacob deGrom. Probably not pitching all of next year either. Sports. It's a funny damn thing. It really is. Think about it, Mark. The Final Four in baseball were 3 teams that won 90 games and a team that won 84. Arizona Diamondbacks are a win away from the World Series. What the hell is going on?
And they finally calmed down the Philly bats. They were doing the things that they did all season long, stealing bases, running around, making things difficult on the Phillies. And we get another Game 7 tonight.
Yes, we do. And all the pressure on the Phillies, too. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Imagine this. The Diamondbacks started the game out, and I don't know if you caught it, David. They didn't pitch to Schwarber or Harper.
Wow. So they were going to let others beat them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Took them a while to figure that out.
I was angry at the Diamondbacks manager, though. He's got his starting pitcher on the hill who's pitching well. He gets Schwarber, Turner, and Harper out in the 5th inning, and he's got 3 hits he's given up, only 1 run, and Torey Lovullo goes, your night's over. You can see him look at him and go, what do you mean he's over? I just got those guys out. You're done.
You're done.
You're done.
Here's how we're doing this.
No.
And it worked.
It did. It did. But at that moment, I have to admit, I was hoping the Phillies would score 17 runs. Oh, man. Because that's not what Bruce Bochy would have done.
Oh, it's the direct opposite of what he would have done, David. And that right there is why you love baseball.
I do.
That's where they pull you in. Because you actually started rooting against a team that you had no real business rooting against because they had made a managerial decision that, well, you disagreed with.
Mm-hmm. It's like the head coach in football, okay, who goes for it when he should punt or kick the field goal.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Lions, Jags, Paul. Lions, Jags.
So I asked last night, I said, am I allowed to wear a Halloween costume next week? I said, it'll be Devil's Night. And I said, now where I grew up was Mischief Night, but we'll be in Detroit. I go, it's Devil's Night. Joe said you can only wear it if you walk down the streets of Detroit with it on. I said, well, okay, guys got to do what a guy's got to do. It was 2 games ago. Joe didn't say, I'll give you $100 if you can name 4 Rangers. Joe mentioned something about the baseball playoffs, and Troy said, hey, how about those Texas Rangers? And Joe goes, I'll bet you can't name 4 Texas Rangers. And Troy, being a smart ass, said, sure I can. Juan Gonzalez, Pudge Rodriguez, okay, and starts rattling off, the guts of the team in the 90s. And Joe goes, no, literally. Okay, 4 Texas Rangers. Who do you have? So of course, I'm in Troy's ear. I go, you want them? All right. And he kind of put his hand up like, no. And that's when Troy said to Joe, I remember when I didn't work with you much this month. Okay. I kind of like that, which we thought was a great line, obviously referencing when Joe was at Fox and he would break away from football for 2-3 weeks and do the baseball. So I have had a blue card with like 6 Texas Rangers on them. All right. That the last 2 games has been right by Troy, just in case Joe goes back to the 4 Texas Rangers, thing. No. Although Philly may cut an NBA minute and submit it to us. Okay.
I was going to tell Philly he could do an NBA preview today, but it only could be 24 seconds long.
Did he say I'll give you $100 if you? I thought he said I'll bet you can't name 4 Texas Rangers. There was a time when I didn't have to work with you in October. I kind of like that time. Man, we were howling in the booth. I thought that was the best in the time I've been with them. I thought that was his best line back at Joe. It's the first game Joe had his wife and kids with him. His 5-year-old boys. I think Joe will work longer because of his sons. I think he would have retired earlier, but I think because of him and his dad and the awesome memories he has following his dad around as a kid, I think Joe will broadcast longer so that his sons can, experience some of that. Because Joe's 54.
Yeah, he and I are the same age. Both got married twice, have young kids. Other than that, it ends right there, David.
Here we go.
And you're both sportscasters.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, and that's when David Samson will join us. He's already up. Heck, he's already retweeted that he's coming on. So I guess we'll bring him on at the top of the hour for his weekly appearance. Heck, at 8 o'clock, we'll do the same with Pat Kirwan, the first of his 2 weekly appearances. Looking back on, what was it, week 7, technically, even though some teams have only played 6. But we're already 7 weeks into this sucker. And it ended with an upset last night. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Niners 7-point favorites. No Deebo Samuel, no Trent Williams, and no Kirk Cousins, who was tremendous. He threw for 378 yards against the Niners defense and 2 touchdowns to Jordan Addison, who said, hey, I ain't no Justin Jefferson, but I'm pretty darn good. 7 catches for $123 in those 2 scores. Brock Purdy had his moments, made some terrific throws, also threw 2 bad picks in the final half of the fourth quarter. And the Niners held to just 65 yards rushing. The Vikings upset San Francisco 22-17. Niners fall to 5-2. What are they, in a first place tie with Seattle? At least in the loss column. And the Vikings now very much back in the NFC playoff picture. Tampa Bay is the 7th seed at this moment in time at 3-3. So obviously, do the math. And the Bucs got to go to Buffalo Thursday night. So the Vikings could be tied for the final playoff spot in the conference before their next game, which will be at Lambeau Sunday against the Packers.
Did the Vikings last night go from pretender to contender in the NFC, David?
Take it easy now.
I just
breathe
I
deeply.
wanted to get a contender in early this morning. Just get you thinking.
Okay. All right. Niners, by the way, have lost 2 in a row. No guarantee they'll have Deebo back next week either. And they're hosting the Bengals. That's intriguing, isn't it? That game? Got any interest? Some NFL news. Anybody see the hit that Kareem Jackson had for the Broncos in the Packers game Sunday? I thought it was a hit that you get a penalty on. He got a penalty. He got ejected. Second time he's been ejected this year. The NFL yesterday said, yeah, you're a repeat offender. We're tired of your late hits and your unnecessary roughness hits. And they suspended him for 4 games. Wow. 4 games, which would cost him around $600,000, by the way. That seems a little harsh to me. I mean, I didn't think he should have been ejected. His hit was with his shoulder, not even the helmet. Do I think he's a dirty player? Yeah, I do. But 4 games? Wow. He is a repeat offender, though. He's been ejected twice, and there are those who thought he should have been ejected very early in the season in a game in which he wasn't. Needless to say, he will appeal. The NFL is looking into the whole Atlanta Falcons Bijan Robinson situation.
It's not going to give me a fantasy win, so I don't really much care.
So the Falcons claimed Sunday after the game that, yeah, he woke up not feeling well. And the league's like, yeah, that's not really good enough. Okay? He wasn't on an injury report all week, and then he played 11 snaps and had 1 carry, and he's usually a starter and a focal point of the offense. Yeah, you got to do a little bit better than he woke up with a headache. So, I mean, worst case scenario, they're going to be fined, but it did crush fantasy owners, needless to say. I mean, if another question the NFL has is that, well, why didn't you deactivate him?
And then not just, who cares about fantasy, but the DraftKings part of fantasy, the prop bets part of what goes on DraftKings. There's a lot of, money, David, wagered on these type of things every week now.
There's money wagered on the NFL?
Just a little bit.
Huh. Saints wide receiver Chris Olave arrested for reckless driving. What qualifies as reckless driving in Louisiana? How about doing 70 and a 30? I'd say that qualifies as reckless driving. The Eagles made a trade. God, I love Howie Roseman. I really do. He's got a couple simple philosophies. Well, let's see. Who's the best team in college football? Georgia. Well, how about if I just draft a bunch of their players? Oh, that sounds smart. And then, man, I've got some needs. How about if I go trade for them? Huh? Sounds smart to me. He acquired safety Kevin Byard, who's from Philadelphia. Huh. Think he'll be happy leaving a 2-win team to go to a 6-1 team and go home?
And it is getting to the point, like in baseball, you've said it for a while, David. When the Rays call you, you just don't answer the phone.
Correct.
When the Eagles call you, you don't answer the phone.
Or you say, what are you offering? Yeah, I need twice that.
Thank you.
You just
little tougher in football when you're going to have a fire sale and you're trying to get rid of guys and you're trying to improve your club long range. I get it.
Right. So the Eagles actually gave up a safety, Terrell Edmonds, and a 5th and 6th round pick in the next draft, which by the NFL,
a player they didn't want and 2 worthless draft picks.
Right. And a very deep roster for a player they really wanted.
Right.
Right. By the way, this is the 6-1 team making trades, but all you 3 and 4 teams out there, no, just stay pat with your roster. Those draft picks are very valuable. By the way, how many on those picks do you guys miss on? 40, 50, 60%? Anyway, the Browns are expected to be without running back Jerome Ford for 1 to 2 weeks with an ankle injury. Remember, this is significant because, well, they're already missing Nick Chubb for the rest of the year. Baseball. Congratulations to the Texas Rangers. For the 3rd time in franchise history, they're going to the World Series. They won Game 7 against Houston in Houston, 11-4. They scored 3 in the first, 4 in the 4th. Adolis Garcia, man, he had himself a series. He's the guy who got plunked in the 8th inning of Game 5. Ever since that moment in time, he hit 3 homers against Houston. By the way, did you hear, quick sidebar, what the Major League Baseball decided yesterday? So first off, baseball freaked out. This Astros pitcher hit Garcia in the 8th inning of Game 5. Nobody thought it was intentional, except the 4 umpires. And they ejected the pitcher and then ejected the manager because it's automatic when they think that if you hit a guy intentionally, the manager gets ejected too. And Dusty Baker was like, are you serious? We would do that in the 8th inning of a 4-2 playoff game? Are you high? Okay, and then Altuve hit a 3-run home run.
Dusty wouldn't leave, too. That was the best part, is that Dusty basically refused to leave the bench.
Yeah, there was a 6-minute delay because Dusty's like, I'm not going anywhere. You guys are idiots. And finally, and they said, well, we won't resume the game until you leave. And so he left after 6 minutes. So, so then Major League Baseball compounds the mistake by suspending the reliever for 2 games. Everybody thought Major League Baseball was going to apologize for the umpires losing their minds. No, baseball said we're going to double down on the losing of the mind. So then, okay, the guy's suspended for 2 games. So he appeals right before Game 6. So he gets to be available to pitch in Game 6. Well, they have the emergency hearing before Game 7, and Major League Baseball upholds the suspension. So obviously the guy's unavailable to pitch in Game 7, right? Oh, no. They said, we'll uphold the suspension, but it'll count in the regular season next year. You can pitch in the playoffs.
What a flipping joke.
What?
If you're first off, the suspension itself is bogus. But if you believe that he did what he did, the suspension can only be in the postseason.
Well, it can only at least be in this series.
Right.
If you felt he intentionally hit a Texas Ranger, then punish him against the Texas Rangers. It didn't matter. But, man, Major League Baseball has had a rough 3 days. They've lost their minds. Arizona went into Philly and beat the Phillies 5-1. Just like that, the series is tied at 3. Remember when the Phillies won games 1 and 2? Remember that? A 3-run second inning, Tommy Pham and Gurriel both homered for the Diamondbacks. Arizona's bullpen, 4 shutout innings. Thank you very much. 5-1 Arizona. Phillies held to 6 hits. We got a Game 7 tonight in Philadelphia. The official word is Fox is going to be the home plate umpire. Fox, yes. They're just Dean Blandino. I know he's a football referee and all. He's going to be behind the home plate because Fox needs the Phillies to win. Strike zone going to be very wide for the Phillies and very tight for the Diamondbacks. Hey, the NBA season starts tonight. Isn't that right, Felipe?
Yes, sir.
TNT is where you got to go. 7:30, Lakers and Nuggets. That's a 5:30 local tip. And then Suns and Warriors, no Draymond Green for Golden State in the season opener. That's your TNT doubleheader. The only 2 games going on in the association. There was some off-the-field news, though. Pretty relevant off-the-field news. Giannis said, okay, you went out and got this Damian Lillard guy. I'll tell you what, I'll match my contract up with his. How about that? I'll sign a 3-year extension, so we're both here for 4 more years. And I'm making $62 million a year. Got that? And I'll have the player option for the 4th year. Okay? That'll be my option. Not yours, mine. So Giannis is staying in Milwaukee for at least the next 4 years. Him and Dame, we'll see if they can, win another title. Hockey, only 1 game last night. Jake Allen, 36 saves. Canadians over the Sabres 3-1. Both the Lightning and Panthers in action tonight. They're both at home.
Along with everyone else in the league.
Boy, are they.
No. Every team's playing. This is their hockey night. They start at 6 o'clock. They basically go every 15 minutes until 11 o'clock. Every single team is playing. What ESPN's covering 3 games, and then ESPN2's got red zone type coverage tonight.
Lightning hosting Carolina. Panthers hosting winless San Jose, the last winless team in the league. Some college football news, which might interest you. Hey, this Michigan staffer, Connor Stallions, turns out he purchased tickets to over 30 games over the last 3 years at 11 Big Ten schools. Apparently, he didn't go to all the games. He actually hired other people to allegedly videotape the signals. That sounds like a network. That sounds like there's some thought and organization behind this. You're going to love this. There were tickets purchased on both sidelines for last Saturday's Penn State, Ohio State game in Columbus in the name of Connor Stallions.
Imagine that.
The tickets went unused, needless to say.
The Astros, the Patriots, and the University of Michigan.
Unbelievable. Quinn Ewers is out for Texas. The quarterback's got a bum right shoulder, and he's right-handed. So Malik Murphy, not Arch Manning, but Malik Murphy is going to get the start against BYU on Saturday. And Miami expecting their quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke, to be back Saturday against Virginia. How about that upset, by the way, over the weekend? Virginia hadn't won a damn thing. North Carolina was unbeaten. Virginia beating Carolina.
What a great win. And one of the guys that was involved in that horrible tragedy was a big part of the game for Virginia. It just, everything about that was great for Virginia. It really was.
It was. And Mac Brown, very classy afterwards, as he always is. Probably the classiest coach in college football is Mac Brown, who understood the humanity and what went on and what, just it was good. It was good. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
David Samson to join us coming up at the top of the hour. He'll be fired up about that whole baseball, beanball, suspension, not a suspension thing. Plus the Texas.
And 2 Game 7s he'll be fired up about.
Sure. So you want to stick around for that. Pat Kirwan coming up in a little more than an hour. Matt Baker to talk all things college football. You know, it's Florida-Georgia week, right?
What do they call that game?
Well, it's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, Mark. That still is in this state.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You in Miami?
No, I'm in Stamford, Connecticut.
Oh, that's right, the CBS.
Yes.
I'm just trying to picture, the generic walls and the generic couch. I'm trying to remember if that's outside Levitard Studios or...
No, Levitard I do a real studio in when I'm in Miami. New York is real. Stamford is a hotel wall where I have them take the painting down.
You have them take the painting down?
Yeah, it's such an awful background that white's better.
I was going to say, you look like you're in a psychiatrist's office without any artwork with that couch.
Listen, I am on a couch and I do lay down a bit.
How much of an upgrade is the new Levitard studio compared to the Clevelander?
It's the difference from moving from the outhouse to the penthouse.
That's awesome.
To answer the question, this Malik Murphy actually beat Arch out in camp. Okay, he's been the number 2 quarterback. So Arch is not the backup this year. Now, when Ewers goes to the NFL, Arch will be the quarterback next year. I mean, come on. We all know how the game's played. But how about Bruce Bochy doing it again? Give me that
Cooperstown.
Game 5 starter. Get him in here.
Well, that we knew was going to happen. We knew that Montgomery was going to be available. Just like tonight, Zach Gallen is available for sure. And Zach Wheeler's available. I think likely you'll see both of them tonight.
Ooh, that's interesting because obviously if you burn them, they can't pitch Game 1.
If you don't win, there is no Game 1.
I know. I can do the math, you know.
They can pitch on Sunday.
Yeah, there's no game.
Which is
Sunday.
Game 2. So Wheeler and Gallen can go 2, and Kelly and Nola can go 1.
I thought the games were Friday, Saturday.
Right. So today's Tuesday.
Right.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's 3 days of rest, which is just that's no problem.
You think that's enough?
If you just pitch an inning or two in the bullpen, for sure.
Texas, by the way, because of the sweep of the Phillies' first series of the year, Rangers with home field.
The Rangers home field over everybody.
Not that they want it. I know.
It's a great talking point if Philly wins tonight, teaching players that April games do matter. Because you just never know.
True story. A buddy of mine's a Phillies fan. And when the Rangers swept the Phillies' first series of the year, he called up his dad, who's a gambler, and he said, hey, put some money on the Rangers to go to the World Series. And at the time, they were 60-1.
15 seconds. All right, let's do it.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And at this day and time, David Samson. He of the Nothing Personal with David Samson podcast. He also does work for CBS Sports HQ, and he joins us from the CBS Sports facilities in Connecticut. You can follow David on Twix, Twitter/X at David, the letter P Samson, David P Samson. Top of the morning to you. How about these baseball playoffs, huh?
Yeah, the morning comes quick. So it's amazing. We've had the postseason started off with a bunch of sweeps, and people were panicked that this postseason would not be compelling. And then we got 2 LCSs, both going 7, both very compelling series that a lot of people guessed wrong, with me being number 1.
Boy, home field sure meant a lot. I mean, you can't explain it, can you?
Well, it's funny. Baseball, if you look, I think they're 62 and 63 in home games. It's either over the last few LCSs. There's some stat where the home field advantage is not what it is, let's say in basketball, when during my days a game 7 meant the home team won pretty much automatically. And even that's changed a tiny bit in the NBA. But in baseball, the way the game is now, who's ever hot, who's ever hitting home runs, they're just going to win the game. It doesn't matter, home or road. And this series with with Houston and Texas, exactly like the Astros-Nationals World Series of 19, where no road team won. No road team lost. Max Scherzer went into Houston for Washington, started Game 7 like he did yesterday for Texas, and Washington won that game to win the World Series. So it's happened before, but it is crazy.
All right. We made a declaration last hour in which baseball managers for all the other teams need to, for the rest of their days in October, ask themselves the question, what would Bruce Bochy do? David, honestly, Okay, he did it in 2014 with Madison Bumgarner. Took the Game 5 pitcher, who was the best pitcher in the series, brought him in the middle of the game in Game 7, said, get as many outs as you can. Best pitcher in the series was Jordan Montgomery. He brought him in the third inning last night, handed him the ball, said, get as many outs as you can. David, 29 other managers. How many would have done it?
Well, let's start with my manager 20 years ago, Jack McKeon, who, same situation. We went into Chicago down 3-2. We won Game 6, and Josh Beckett appeared in Game 7 after having started Game 5. So it's exactly what the reason why you see that is it's a bullpen day. So Jordan Montgomery's bullpen day was yesterday. And what you do is instead of having him throw on the side, you say he can get an inning, and that's his bullpen work, or an inning and a half, or 2 innings. And that's exactly what happened. Not as uncommon as you'd think. What is uncommon is how effective a Game 7 starter can be. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because a bullpen session is obviously not a game situation. So you don't really know how your arm is going to react, because simulating game time does not equal game time.
You know, I thought of you. I almost sent you a text when they walked Schwarber, the first batter. I said, they're listening. I don't know how often they're listening, David, but they're listening to you. And then they walks Harper, and I went, they're really listening here. Hey, there was a game plan last night or yesterday afternoon, and it was, we're not going to get beat by these two guys.
Here's what I love, that so many people were on X last night and saying, wow, Kelly doesn't have it. And they were using that based on his lack of command because Schwarber and Harper were put on base. And the answer is no, that is a game plan. And what you do is you circle a player, and in Philadelphia's case, you have to circle 2 and say, they're not beating me. I don't care what happens. Those guys will not beat me today. And I love that, because that's what the only way to stop a hot hitter, give them the base. And there's players on every team for that. So when you look at tonight, they ought to have the same approach, the exact same approach. Do not let Schwarber and Harper beat you. If Turner does, that's fine. If Bohm does, that's fine. If JT does, that's fine too.
Do you think for the first time, I could argue in the last 2 playoff seasons, that the Phillies feel some pressure tonight? They were the 86-win 6th seed last year. So I don't know if the Phillies felt pressure in any game they played the entire playoff run last year. And sure enough, this year, okay, you know, they dispatched to the Marlins so quickly. There was no tension in that series. They were we got nothing to lose against the Braves. And now they were up 2-0 and 3-2 against 84-win Arizona. And here they are at home, a Game 7. And if they lose, they got to consider this a failure.
Oh, it's definitely a failure if they lose. And here's the mistake that I made, and I wonder whether Philadelphia did too. Going into the series, my view is that the Diamondbacks must be satisfied. They beat the Brewers. They beat the Dodgers. That's one heck of a season. Congratulations. Philly looks unbeatable. They lose the first 2 games, and it's confirmation bias. Hey, that's it. Philly's going to sweep. Vegas said in 5 is the most likely outcome, but a sweep is definitely possible. And then all of a sudden, Diamondbacks win Game 3, and they win Game 4. And then you realize, crikeys, this is an actual series where anyone can win 2 out of 3. But then Philly wins 3-2, and everyone said, we're back. That's it. Going to Citizens Bank, it can't happen. Well, guess what? 20 years ago, right now, the Marlins were down 3-2 going into Chicago against Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood, and won Game 6 and Game 7 on the road. My mistake is I counted out the Diamondbacks because I forgot about my own team. I forgot what it's like to be young and to have no care in the world and to believe in yourself and to never think you're out of a game and to always think that you're going to take advantage of the other team's mistakes and then just win, baby. And that's what the Diamondbacks are doing right now. So it would not be an upset if the Diamondbacks won today, but the Phillies would feel as though they got robbed in what their goal was, which was to get back to the World Series and win it this time. So I agree with you. This would be devastating for the Phillies to lose tonight.
You know, when Arizona got up in that game and started running around, it seemed like that put more pressure on Philadelphia. I don't know. When you have the ability to run in the way the Diamondbacks can, how much more pressure does that put on a team when they have to play defense like that?
I love putting the game in motion, and Arizona has been doing that all year, and then all of a sudden just sort of stopped. And Torey Lovello, their manager, said, I think we ought to get back to a little bit of chaos. We ought to get back to doing what we're good at doing, and I love that they're doing that. And while it's not common to do hit and run and to even steal bases, even with the new rules and the new size of the bases where everyone's running, in the playoffs, you don't want to run into an out. And look, Schwarber ran into an out last night in a terrible situation. When you're down 4 runs, you never take second base. There's no reason to, even if the pass ball goes into the stadium, for crying out loud. So I think that it's hugely important, but less important than the real thing you have to look for tonight, and that is who gets the first crooked number. Because both these teams can do it, and in a Game 7, first crooked number generally wins, and that's what you saw last night when Texas got their crooked number in the top of the first inning.
All right, it didn't ultimately impact the series, but can we go back to Game 5 of the ALCS and the reaction? So most everyone in Western civilization thought that the Astros pitcher did not intentionally hit Adolis Garcia, but Garcia thought it, and the umpires agreed. And you and I happened to text one another, in which I said, come on, Major League Baseball is going to basically apologize to Houston here, right? And instead, they suspended the Houston pitcher for 2 games and doubled down on it and agreed with the umpires. David, what the hell? I mean, there's no way he hit him on purpose.
There's no chance that he hit him on purpose, because no one is that stupid. You don't put a second runner on base with no outs when you're down 2 runs in the middle of a playoff game. So what actually happened is he did get suspended. In the regular season, let's say that'd be a 3-game suspension brought down to 2 on appeal. Instead, what they did is they suspended for 2, kept it at 2, but said you don't have to serve until 2024. Which is the same thing as baseball and their arbitrators saying, you know what? They may not have done that on purpose, but we can't look bad. We can't look like we were wrong. We can't make the umpires look bad by putting the suspension either at 0 or keeping it at 2 and impacting the series. So the compromise is you keep the suspension but push it to 2024. And I think that's the same thing as saying that Houston did not do it on purpose.
But you know what? In the NFL, they pick up flags. And they say, you know what? They all convene and they say, you know what? Guys, that wasn't a penalty. And even the league comes out after and says that penalty was a mistake. These leagues do it. Basketball, they all do it all the time. There is a time when you have to look at the rest of the baseball world and say, we made a mistake here, and not stick up for your damn umpires, David.
It's really hard. Baseball has a thing, and it was going on my entire 18-year career. We don't like making the umpires look bad. We like out-negotiating them, and we like sort of trying to break their union, but you really don't want to make them look bad on the field.
Yeah, but you've just set a bad precedent. Now, going forward, every postseason suspension you can push to the next regular season. That's a very bad precedent to have set.
I thought it was outrageous, and I spoke to someone inside baseball who I know well, and it was not a great situation because they didn't want to look like they were helping Texas, where the GM is a former member of the commissioner's office. They certainly don't necessarily want to help Houston, where owners are not happy with what Houston's done and the amount of winning they've done. So it's sort of a no-win situation in a Texas-Houston LCS, where one of those teams is going to win, and you have to make it look as fair as possible and make it look like the series wasn't decided by the commissioner's office.
All right, we got about 60 seconds. Phillies are clear favorites tonight. Ranger Suarez has had a really good playoffs. He's the starter for Philadelphia. Your thoughts on tonight's game, and then quickly the World Series.
If you've never watched Fott play, who's a rookie who's going for Arizona, if you've never watched him pitch, you won't even believe it. His stuff, if it's right, is ace-like stuff. He may be better than Zach Gallen and better than Merrill Kelly. Is the moment too big for him as a rookie? That's what we're going to find out, and I don't think so. Ranger Suarez, not the Phillies' best pitcher. Wheeler is, but he's better than Nola, pitching better than Nola right now. He's lights out. So this is going to end up being a battle of bullpens once these two starters are out of the game. And the question is, which bullpen will be able to lock it down? And we'll have to wait to see. And the winner of this game against Texas, we can preview it and talk about it. It's going to be a long, interesting series because the Rangers are streaky, and you can beat them 4 out of 7 times.
World Series begins Friday in Arlington. The Rangers have home field no matter who wins tonight. Game 7, Phillies and Diamondbacks on TBS at 8 Eastern. David Samson. He have nothing personal with David Samson. He records it weekdays at 8 a.m. He's also part of CBS Sports and CBS Sports HQ, analyzing the playoffs all month long. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at David, the letter P. Samson, David P. Samson. David, great rest of your day. Thanks as always.
Thanks. Take care. See you next week.
David Samson. He have nothing personal joining us here on Miller and Moulton.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Okay, I don't know why there's so much talk about the Texas quarterback situation in Twitch, but this kid beat Arch out, so he's been number 2 on the depth chart. And yes, Arch will be the quarterback next year. Quinn Ewers is going to the NFL, and this kid who is starting against BYU will be the backup because, of course, Arch is going to get the job for obvious reasons. And then this kid will transfer. But it's a very dangerous situation as a coach. The players know who's playing better. And if the other kid's out playing Arch, you can't give Arch a job.
And Wes, I know you typed before, but what's your problem with David Samson? I'm just curious.
Let's see here. Boo, David Samson, boo. No, what the?
Oh, my God. He said something. He does a show every day of the week, and he said something disparaging about a Philly fan, so you don't like him anymore.
Oh, he did say he was tired. Yeah, Philly fans were annoying him. Well, Philly fans have never annoyed anybody before, Wes.
Yep, they've never. My goodness. Certainly makes his insight that he has as 20 years of running a Major League Baseball franchise ridiculous now. because he said something disparaging about a fan base.
But Wes, you could just come back with David. You guys, you don't know anything about a fan base. Hello, boom. That's how you come back. And I put the temperature down to 65 last night. Whew. It was cool in here this morning. It was 4.5 hours. I slept like a rock. Major decision to make after the show.
To nap or not to nap?
Yeah. I've got time. I got 45 minutes to an hour. I could nap.
Can you go down that quickly?
It depends. Depends how tired I am. If I'm tired, absolutely.
I was hoping yesterday to get a little shut. I literally used that long John Oliver story will start getting me nodding if it doesn't have me.
Right.
And it had me, and I'm like, well, there's no nap.
I had a 2.5 hour nap yesterday. 2.5 hours. Oh, God. It was amazing. Especially, I'm in a corner room, so I got windows all around, and got the curtains down. It had it so dark in here, cold. Oh, God, it was great. You know, when you wake up and you need like a minute and a half to figure out where you are, what time it is, what? Oh, God. We need a poll question. This would be 3 in a row. This would be officially we're off the wagon. The shape up is in trouble. I say we go with bologna. It's National Bologna Day.
We're better than bologna.
Best processed meat, bologna, salami.
Yes.
Roast.
Spam.
I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. Pepperoni. Salami.
We really don't have a sports anything.
Well,
did the Vikings save their season last night?
Okay, that'll get 17 votes. We could do Florida, Georgia.
It's Tuesday.
Could be our question all week. We're on the Florida Sports Network, you know.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan to join us 40 minutes from now. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us on this Tuesday morning edition, along with Florida Sports Network, Florida Sports Network.com. We do not have a poll question. We did not have a poll question yesterday. We did not have a poll question on Monday. The shape up is dangerously close to going off the rails. We were money for 4 weeks. And Mark, this is about how long I diet and exercise too. I got a month in me. And at the end of the month, I falter. And sure enough, in my professional life, it has happened again. Here we are, going from week 4 to week 5. And what happens? Crash and burn.
And it's not just a cheat day. For Miller and Moulton, it turns into a cheat week, and then, what the hell?
Yes. See you next year.
Right.
No sense starting back up again. Why? Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Might as well wait till about the second week of January. Oh, wait, the NFL playoffs. You're right. So
eat our way through a sports season like nobody's business.
Exactly. So this is how dangerously close we are. Okay. If we don't get a poll question up in the next 10, 15 minutes, all right, then we are officially off the wagon. And the shape up is over. Just so you know. Today's National Bologna Day. It's Florida Georgia week. All right, we could ask, the Vikings started 0-3, which teams, that can resurrect their seasons like the Vikings seemingly have. Okay, we can ask a stupid NBA question in honor of the NBA starting tonight.
I was gonna say, if you need any NBA questions, you know who to go to.
See?
I'm here if you need me.
Right.
What about let me just throw this out there. Because we've got a game 7 tonight.
We do.
We've got the NBA season starting tonight.
That's true. And the early game involves the Lakers, LeBron.
And we literally have every NHL team playing tonight.
Mark, we have more than that. Okay. Remember, we're in the midst of 50 consecutive days of football.
Don't.
Okay. Mark, we have undefeated Liberty at Western Kentucky and New Mexico State at Louisiana Tech. Okay. Undefeated Liberty at Western Kentucky.
The Conference USA?
I think so, yeah.
I worry about the people who willingly watch those games.
What do you mean?
What do you
willingly?
mean?
There's millions.
Really? You watch random 10:30 NBA games. I worry about people that do that.
That's the highest level of basketball.
Fine. I got a poll question for you. All right, fine. Liberty, Western Kentucky football or Sacramento Kings 10:30 Eastern basketball? The Kings are going to keep me up lately.
It's mediocre college football.
Yes, it is. Damn it. Yes, it is, Felipe. And one is the highest level at basketball that can be played. Okay, Felipe, you really don't understand the power of helmets and shoulder pads, do you? You don't. And we've tried so hard over the last 2 years to teach it to you. You just don't get it.
I get it.
It's helmets and shoulder pads.
Oh, I get it. I just have my opinion towards it.
That's true. 7-0 Liberty, by the way. There's life after Hugh Freeze. Life after the Ace Sun. It's an inside joke. So yeah, fine. Yes. So what do we got tonight? Game 7, hockey and the NBA. You want to?
And I'll throw on undefeated Liberty.
You can put a D. Give me Liberty or give me Western Kentucky. Right.
Right.
Liberty 5-5, by the way, is the spread. Anyway, not that people might be interested in that sort of thing.
Paul in the Twitch chat goes, I will take mediocre college football for 1,000, Alex.
See? There you go. Thank you, Paul. So, okay, fine. Then we have a poll question. We don't have to throw Liberty up there. Okay.
No. I think we do. If I'm putting the NHL, in all seriousness, if we put the NHL up there, how can you not put bad college football up there?
Yeah.
This will be the experimental poll question.
So
I wonder what gets more eyeballs tonight. The NHL game on ESPN or the because I'm guessing they're sticking Liberty on ESPNU, so probably the NHL game.
They are. Yes. I mean, the NHL, I believe, is on the 4-letter network.
And on Deuce with their wraparound, because it's everybody's playing, so they're doing a red zone kind of thing on the Deuce tonight.
Okay. So, all right, we'll have a poll question. We'll probably need the commercial break, type it up, and what have you. I mean, for the record, I wanted a poll question involving bologna. I had a lot of it as a kid. We didn't have a lot of money. All right. I'm fine.
We did too. I had many a bologna sandwich. I've said this before. My mom had the meat grinder. We made our own ground bologna. The ring bologna and the pickles and the mayonnaise and a ground bologna sandwich. My father loved them.
Wow.
Loved them.
No, we had Oscar Mayer. And yes, I'll sing the song while Felipe does the play of the day, which for the last time will not be basketball.
What do you got, Felipe?
I got baseball, guys. We had a game 7 last night, and man, the Rangers put a beat down on the Astros, who, if you remember, in the 2019 World Series, had home field advantage and lost all of their home games. An insane occurrence that we thought we'd never seen happened again to them in the ALCS. Thanks to Adolis Garcia, by the way, who had 2 home runs.
The 3-2. And Garcia, right field, towards the corner, tailing over there, and it is gone. He's done it again. It's Adolis Garcia's world, and we are all witnessing it. Is he hot? A home run just inside the foul pole.
The Cuban from Ciego de Avila. I butchered that, and I speak Spanish. Ciego de Avila.
See, and if you hadn't told most of the rest of
I
us,
knew.
Yeah, you would have believed that.
I
But
knew.
Mark knew. But Mark knew. But the
More
Cuban,
by the facial expression, not by the wording, but the way Felipe cringed after he said it.
I was like, ugh. Yeah. Ciego de Avila from Cuba. He has 20 RBIs so far in this postseason. That is a single postseason franchise record for the Texas Rangers. 20 RBIs in this postseason alone. Adolis Garcia, one of the main reasons, along with many other reasons, why the Rangers are headed to the World Series.
El Bombi, the light bulb, because as a kid, his friends thought his head was shaped like a light bulb and the name stuck. I love it.
And he was lighting up the Stros.
well done.
See what
Well
he did
done,
there?
young man.
He
I see
lit him
what
up.
you did there. Nice. That's in 12 games, by the way. All those RBIs in 12 games. That's pretty good.
By the
That's
way,
pretty good.
take your unwritten rules and shove them where the sun don't shine, because he was as cocky as ever on every single one of those.
Remember, he's the guy who got hit in the 8th inning of Game 5, and he thought it was on purpose.
I bet it was.
It was
No,
not
it was not.
on purpose.
Are you nuts?
And Felipe, you're talking to two guys who love revenge, but not in the 8th inning of Game 5 of the LCS when it was a 2-run game. Absolutely not.
13 times to do it next year if they wanted revenge for something.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
No.
But I love it. I love it.
Now, I have to admit, I have not gone on Texas Rangers social media, because remember when the Astros social media made fun of Texas blowing the division and Houston won the division?
Yes.
I wonder if Texas Rangers social media is returning the favor now that they beat the Astros in the LCS.
Think we would be?
Oh, yes, we would. Oh, yes, we would. And we'd be strutting like Adolis Garcia, me and our big-headed light bulb.
It seems that Major League Baseball has adapted their version of the diva wide receiver, and it's the diva Cuban superstar.
Whatever it takes.
Well, this goes back to, I think, Jose Bautista and the Blue Jays in like 2015. Once they let that Blue Jays team strut their stuff, baseball just said, the heck with it, go.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, the other diva Cuban superstar that I'm thinking of is Randy Rosarina.
All right, David, what sporting event are you most interested in tonight? Game 7 NLCS, NBA opening night, NHL's Frozen Frenzy. That's what they're calling it, by the way, according to NHL.com. And CFB Liberty v. Western Kentucky. You all right with that? Good talk. He's not even there.
No.
I can't. I go off the screens. This is why I desperately want 2 monitors. I can just leave the StreamYard up here and then do what I need to do on the other, like I do when I worked from home.
Yeah.
Problem is, I don't know if this computer could handle a second monitor.
Oh, man. You'd be clogging its arteries.
One so simple, no.
All right, he's singing.
Oh, look at that.
So I just said, what sporting event are you most interested in tonight? Game 7 NLCS, NBA opening night, NHL's Frozen Frenzy, CFB Liberty v. Western Kentucky.
Okay.
We got off the couch, David. We got off the couch.
Whew, late. Oh, man, it was in danger. Man, I got to tweet that out. No, it is not snowing out David's window. Whew. Excuse me. Here we go. What are we voting on tonight? Oh, come on. Game 7. Come on.
We had an all-time NFL radio play-by-play guy matchup last night. The San Francisco guy and the Minnesota guy are both amazing.
Oh, the Vikings guy is awesome.
Touchdown, Vikings! He's so biased. I love it. He is as biased as any radio play-by-play guy could possibly
John
be.
Kruk is throwing out the first pitch tonight. Will you mistake it and throw out a cheesesteak instead?
It's Paul Allen, by the way, is the Vikings' longtime voice.
Yes.
Felipe, did you ever hear the NFC Championship call with Favre? When Favre
Oh, my gosh, yes. Intercepted. I can't believe this.
I can't believe it. I can't believe what I'm seeing. And meanwhile, the Saints player's nearly going for a touchdown, and he stopped calling it.
Yes,
It's just
yes.
like, no, and they tackled him at the 38, and we're going overtime.
They're taking a 45-yard field goal. That's an old-timer.
Yep.
And brings a lot of trauma for a lot of Vikings fans.
Felipe, you have no idea.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Marcus Freeman grilling one of the reporters. Freeman's son plays on his 3rd grade team. That's good stuff right there.
Negated by only having one flag on. Whose responsibility?
He did more to endear himself to the Notre Dame fan base in that presser yesterday than he has so far as coach. That includes beating USC by 5 touchdowns. Or whatever it was.
Favre goes back to pass. He pumps. Now he fires over the middle. Intercepted. I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. Intercepted by Tracy Porter. Near side to the 40. And John Sullivan.
Oh, no.
Keep going.
I can't believe what I just saw.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Pat Kirwan joins us at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. By the way, you want to sponsor David Samson, Pat Kirwan, their weekly appearances, feel free. We're not stopping you.
No, we're encouraging you.
Yeah. I mean, in the markets where they actually keep our ratings, we're doing very well. I mean, there's 10, 12 people listening. So, reach out to, one of us and trust me.
Since the majority of the market has either one or both of our cell numbers, just feel free to give us a call.
Hey, speaking of which, so I get a text 20 minutes before kickoff last night. Not even, less. And probably one of my two best Minnesota sports fan friends that I have. And I've got a few. I spent 5 years in Fargo, and never mind the 20 plus in Southwest Florida where the Twins have spring training. So, I've got a few Minnesota sports fans in my life, Mark. And this is the text I got. "I'm calling a stinker tonight, David. Death by paper cuts. Maybe the Vikings get to 13, but a complete defensive domination by the Niners. And I would not be shocked if Kirk exits with an injury." It's from a Vikings fan. And he goes, "I hope I'm wrong for your sake and your colleagues tonight." Didn't they nearly have like 500 yards of offense? Wasn't it like 460 something?
It was. Kirk Cousins threw for nearly 400 by himself.
Right. I mean, but that's why we love sports. It's so great. I mean, what is so unpredictable in the world and so enthralling, thrilling, and exasperating all at the same time, besides marriage? She's in the car. She didn't hear it.
That's a good one.
Thank you. So, man, just love it. Vikings 7-point underdogs. All right. Mr. I suck in primetime, Kirk Cousins. Guess what they did? They beat the Niners. Greatest team since the 85 Bears. Those Niners. 2 Sundays ago, what was it? 42-10 against the Cowboys? Yeah. 452 yards of offense against the best defense that we've seen since like the 02 Bucks. Yeah. Okay. It's sports, baby. Just wait 10 minutes. It'll change.
45 throws for Cousins. They never put him down on the ground. They hit him a bunch, but never put him down on the ground.
Not with the ball, anyway. I mean, I will say, Mark, there were about 12 instances in which not one but 2 offensive linemen running to him going, "Oh, man, sorry about that. Here, can I help you?" Kirk's like, "No, that's all right. Just keep doing what you're doing. I won't be able to walk next couple of days. That's okay. Just remember who the backup is, guys. You might want to do a little better next time." Once again, what is their plan at quarterback again? It can't be better than replacing him, right? Seriously. Who are you going to get your hands on next year who's better than him? Please. And tell me how crazy that we were suggesting the Jets should have immediately acquired Kirk Cousins when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Imagine that defense with that capable a quarterback. Exactly. Ask Andy Reid and the Chiefs if they'd want to play that team in the playoffs. Ask a Doll fan if they'd like that team to try to beat to win the AFC
Well,
East.
let me ask you, David. Minnesota Vikings last night with the win. They play Green Bay this week. Are you still comfortable with the asterisk you put next to the Detroit Lions for winning the division?
Yes, I am. I mean, they're going to be at least another month without Jefferson. All right. Defensively, they played a little over their skis last night. They did. That's about as well as they can play. And so, yeah, I am. Now, do I think the Vikings that's what they needed after starting 0-3 and one of those losses being a home loss? I mean, think about this, Mark. Not only were the Vikings 2-4, they were 0-3 at home going into last night. One of those home losses was to Tampa Bay. In that very same stadium, that very same team lost to the Bucks.
I know, week one, weird things happen.
Right. But what I do think the Vikings did last night is the Vikings said, don't discount us for the playoffs. But for the North, yeah, they ain't going to win the North. I'm confident. I'm confident, Mark, that by the time, because like you pointed out, what's it, late December when they finally played Detroit?
They play them 2 of the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They actually play them once in December, once in January.
And I think the Lions in between that go to Dallas. I think the Lions end the season with Minnesota, Dallas, Minnesota.
And the Vikings go Detroit, Green Bay, Detroit.
Yeah. And Mark, I'm willing to say that right now the Lions lead over the Vikings is 2. The Lions may have the division clinched before they play Minnesota.
We shall see, because the Vikings have a ridiculously easy schedule the rest of the way.
Okay.
They go to Green Bay, then they go to Atlanta, host to the Saints, go to Denver, host to the Bears, go to the Raiders, at the Bengals, and then the 3 games we mentioned.
Well, I mean, if they play the way they did last night, hell, they'll win almost all those games. But last night was the outlier. I mean, they forced half as many turnovers last night as they had all year. That's the team we got to start looking at now. All right. Is the Brock Purdy balloon bursting? His arm, even he acknowledged, and Troy Aikman talked about it during the broadcast, his arm is not 100%. Pat Kirwan talked about this. He'll join us in 15 minutes. Pat Kirwan saw the Niners in camp. And granted, that was 2 months ago. But he saw Brock Purdy in person. He said, yeah, he ain't got the fastball. Don't think he's got the fastball. He may get it at some point, but he ain't got it yet. But what surprised me, Mark, without Trent Williams, you know what the Niners couldn't do last night? Niners couldn't run the ball. Niners could not run the ball, which put the game on whose shoulders? Brock Purdy's.
Purdy.
And
that's where having no Debo does affect, because they do so many things in that running game with him. They put him in the backfield. They run end arounds. It changes the way they run the football, and it makes them so much more difficult to defend running the football, David.
Well, and Kyle Shanahan did say in the Sunday production meeting when he met with Joe and Troy and Lisa Salters, in which he said, against a team like the Vikings, who blitz as heavily as they do, 60% of the time, Debo would have 10, 12 catches. Okay, we'd run those short crosses to Debo, to blitz busters all day. And then Debo running after the catch is a handful. He goes, this is not just, of course, we miss Debo, but against this style of defense, Debo is the perfect answer for it. So this one's tough not to have him for. Made a difference last night. No Trent Williams, no Debo Samuel. Suddenly the best team since the 2007 Patriots doesn't look like it.
2 losses in a row. As you mentioned, is it Purdy's arm? Is there something that they found? Our defense is starting to catch up to him. Doesn't seem like it would. Usually it's the 4-6 game mark, not the 12 game mark.
Well, to me, I mean, also the other side's got to get some blame. I mean, the Vikings punted once yesterday? I mean, there's no Justin Jefferson, and this is the worst, arguably the worst rushing team in the league. They're either third to worst or worst in all the rushing categories. And they outrushed the Niners yesterday. And now it wasn't great, but it was enough. Kirk Cousins threw 45 times, wasn't sacked. Kirk Cousins forced to throw 45 times. And what were they? 9 of 13 on third down? 9 of 13 on third down.
And they were not very good on third down coming into the game.
And they converted a 3rd and 10, a 3rd and 12. And by the way, what in the world are you doing with an all-out blitz with 16 seconds to go in the half when they need 25, 30 yards just to get in field goal range and they have no timeouts? What the hell are you doing? You drop back in coverage. You let them complete a 10, 15-yard pass and see if they can get to the line of scrimmage and spike it before the half is done. Seriously, what the heck are you doing? All-out blitz, get beat for a 60-yard touchdown with seconds to go in the half. Seriously, what are you thinking? I mean, what are you, Todd Bowles against the Rams in a divisional playoff game? What are you, the Dolphins last year in a playoff game against the Bills with a hobbled Xavier Howard? I mean, come on, Steve Wilkes. Do better next time. But I digress.
Seems that that's not the first time someone's done that late in the
I
game.
know.
It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense when coverage is the right play. That's too many examples you're citing there, David.
Well, I mean, tie game, Bucks and Niners, 30 seconds to go, third and long. How about we go all-out blitz against Stafford and Cooper Kupp? Okay, fine. We'll put them in the slot against the safety. It's wide open, 50-yard catch. Ooh, unbelievable. No, it's not. How about 3rd and 15 against the Bills? Let's put Howard, who's got a bad hamstring and can't run, one-on-one because we're all out blitzing Josh Allen. That's smart. Only led to a touchdown. Only lost a playoff game by a score. No big deal or anything. Niners offense in back-to-back weeks, Mark, have they scored 20 points in either game the last 2 weeks?
No.
And when they did?
It's one thing against a team that we think has an elite defense.
Thank you. It
happens. You play against, come on, we had 3 teams that we said can win a game with defense. The Cleveland Browns are one of those teams.
They are. How
I mean,
about
they gave up nearly 30 to the Indianapolis Colts the next week, but we're not going to go there.
How about the Vikings defensively, Mark? What do we think of the Vikings defensively?
We don't think a whole lot of them defensively.
How many points the Niners scored last night, Mark?
What'd they end up with, 17?
17. Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a long season. Blank happens. Now, we might be laughing about this in 3 months when they're back steamrolling people. Hell, they may go into Philly in 7 weeks and beat the Eagles. For all we know, the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC is still going through San Francisco. But it's funny what can happen along the way. That's why we watch.
But I'm sure somebody's power poll will have Dallas ahead of Philadelphia, and we can all laugh at that.
Or Mark, if this were college football, okay, somebody would have the Cowboys ahead of the Niners in their poll, because they've lost 2 in a row.
Exactly.
And Dallas on a bye will have leapfrogged the Niners. Hey, didn't they play? Yeah. Who won? Oh, the Niners by 32. Huh. Okay. What's this, like Oklahoma and Texas in the polls? Alabama and Texas in the polls?
The Great 8 is ahead. Pat Kirwan and Matt Baker will join us in the 8 o'clock hour as we'll talk everything NFL with Pat, and we'll talk some college football with Matt from the Tampa Bay Times. All coming up. The text line is open at 21,000-21-000. And you can vote on our poll question at that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or FL Sports Network, plus FloridaSportsNetwork.com. What sporting event are you most interested in tonight? Game 7, the NBA opening night, the NHL Frozen Frenzy, neither of which have a vote so far, Felipe. And college football, Liberty versus Western Kentucky, getting more votes than the NBA opening night.
It's got to be Game 7.
Well, it's got to be Game 7.
It has to be Game 7.
Got to be Game 7. It's the 2 best words in sports. What do we have tonight? Game 7. Huh. I mean, Felipe, you're not going to believe this. Okay, even along the west coast of Florida, if it's basketball, they'll watch a Game 7. They will.
No one sits out for Game 7, Mark.
They will. I didn't say a lot of them, Mark, but I some would.
Depends on what round.
No load management there. Unless your name is Kawhi Leonard.
Somebody had a line in the Twitch chat room. Giannis signed a $62 million a year extension for 3 years, and they went, "Oh, $1 million a game." Remember, it's an 82 game season, not a 62 game season, but that's what these guys are playing these days. It's sad, actually. It's funny, but it's more sad than funny.
Pat Kirwan. Not sad, sometimes funny, always very good. He's next on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, boys.
Hi, Pat.
What's up, Pat?
How you doing? Whoa, we're done now, right?
Whoa. I got 2 more
I
shows.
trusted your Dolphins. Good.
Listen, that's interesting. Okay, I saw something that piqued my interest. The year that the greatest show on turf Rams won the Super Bowl, they lost in Week 8 to the 6-1 Tennessee Titans, who they ended up beating in the Super Bowl. The week after, they lost to the 6.
I'm glad you're doing your research. Do you remember the Super Bowl after that when they were 20-point favorite over the Patriots?
Yeah, and they lost
and choked.
Yeah, well, at least they won one.
That's the Dolphin team I think of.
Oh my God!
You know what? I told you last week. If I take the Dolphins, our friendship is on the line. We're done.
And Pat, why
did
you take Detroit? I mean, I did. I'm dumb. Why did you take Detroit when you knew Lamar was 14-1 against the NFC?
The head coach. That's why. But
All
anyway, they're going to win 5 in a row now. You watch.
They don't play anybody until Dallas.
You know what? That's an accurate statement because I can't tell you who's good in the NFL anymore. who the top is so suspect, and the bottom, the amount of guys in the middle that can win. Like last night, come on, Minnesota. Anyone take Minnesota?
Nope.
It's impossible.
No. Now, I have to admit, I didn't think San Francisco would be dominant without. I thought the Trent Williams loss was going to be big. I actually thought the Vikings were going to move Daniel Hunter on the other side so he'd go against the replacement left tackle, and they actually didn't do that much.
No. It's funny about that. Like, we like to talk about corners that flip and cover and match, and then we know there's groups that never do it. They play left and right. But this same thing with pass rushers. Some teams just don't move guys around. The other teams love it. And you know what? Who was the great rusher from Tennessee?
Curse?
Right? No, after him. He was a really good player. But he said, I don't want to move around. Because I worked the same tackle the whole game. And by the time the fourth quarter comes, I know what I can do to him. I don't like going to figure out guys. So there are players that like that. And some guys just are like that, and they were raised that way, and they think they can beat a guy, but they like setting guys up. Other guys want to go against the weak link every time.
Well, listen, Niners didn't move Bosa around last night, and that right tackle held up.
Yeah, he did. We had a funny comment from a player one time. Oh, Bruce Smith used to move around, and he would be all over the place. So one day we're on the bus going to the airport, and one of the guys said to the player, I think it was Kyle Clifton, said, what do you think of Bruce moving around? Because we weren't doing that. And he goes, he's making it easy for us to figure out who to cut, because whoever he lines up on, they know he stinks. And we'll just get rid of him at the end of the year. He's going through our depth chart for us. You in a hotel room?
Yeah.
David, yeah. I recognize that wallpaper behind you.
Yeah, it's got hotel written all over it. It's a Lowe's. It's in downtown. Yeah. It's across from the Target Center in downtown Minneapolis.
Yeah. At least you're getting out of there before you're walking through those walkways, skyways. Remember, it's so cold there sometimes you can't go outside.
Pat, it was 64 yesterday. The people here were like dancing in the streets.
Yeah, I think they were. Well, I just saw the temperature at the lake here this morning. 34.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network anyway. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits 1 hour from now for Southwest Florida. Matt Baker of the Tampa Bay Times will join us in 35 minutes. We'll talk all things college football. It is the cocktail party week after all. But Pat Kirwan joins us once again. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, 3 to 7 weekdays, 2 to 5 on Saturdays. Pat's also part of CBS's NFL Today show on Sundays. He joins us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, over a dozen locations in between Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Isn't last night an example of why we love sports so damn much, Pat?
Well, I can speak for football. Yes. It's and we had a couple of examples of that this weekend. Teams that got blown up and we were shocked by it, or at least surprised. And you ask yourself questions about Cleveland's defense. What happened to those guys? You ask yourself questions about Detroit. So Jim and I got into this conversation. I said yesterday, tell me who the 7 seed in both conferences is. And, I think we can figure out Kansas City and Jacksonville and probably Baltimore now and Buffalo and Miami. But tell me who the 7 is, certainly in the NFC. And maybe that's your point. Is there someone lurking out there with a losing record? Like, could you actually think Minnesota this morning? Yeah. But by next week, you might say, why did I ever say that? So it's fun. And I think it's what makes the NFL exciting, to say the least.
All right, Pat, what did we learn, if anything, about Brock Purdy last night and last week? Is there reason for concern with the quarterback in San Francisco?
Well, I thought his journey when he was undefeated was a 10-0. It was a nice ride, and he showed us that he can play, and he's got a good supporting cast, but he's going to make mistakes. I don't think they're going to panic over it. But, throwing interceptions late, the young rookie kicker last week. Okay, now we talked about this. He never had to make a pressure kick until last week, and then all of a sudden, a goalpost looked like they narrowed for him. So I think he's a resilient kid. He plays with a steady mind. I don't think he's going to be a problem. I think he's going to be fine. Honestly, the only guy that you think you can trust today is Jalen Hurts. You kind of think, well, Hurts is a rock solid guy, and he can always be physical if he can't be effective throwing, or vice versa. So maybe he's the one we trust. We trust Mahomes, but you tell me who else we totally trust if you look at their body work. Today, when I get off this, I got Bill Cowher for an hour, but after that, I'm going to go through every team because here's what we know today that we didn't know in September. We know who's good and we know who's bad in a sense of, I'm going to go look at your record. We all took a shot at Miami yesterday. Why? Well, look now, they never beat anybody. All those, offensive records they're setting were against losing teams. And the only time they played winning teams, Buffalo and Philly, they gave up 79 points and could only score 38 or something. So I think it's because we all did it yesterday. I have to do it with every team, in all fairness. How you doing against winning record teams?
In fact, the Dolphins only beat one winning team last year. So far in Mike McDaniel's year and a half, they've beaten one team with a winning record so far. Pat, you mentioned the Bills. There's a Bills fan in my life who texted me after the game Sunday, and he said, I think there's a chance we don't make the playoffs. There's something wrong, and look at our schedule. They got to go to Cincinnati. They got to go to Philly. They got to go to Kansas City. They got to go to Miami. They got the Chargers. The Jets come to town. The Cowboys come to town. I mean, we said this, Pat. You play in the Eastern Divisions this year, either conference. The schedule's not easy. What's going on in Buffalo, Pat? They should have lost to the Giants, and they lost to the Patriots. This is a 4-alarm fire.
Well, there's a team, when you go back to September, and you saw Milano on the field and Tre'Davious White on the field, and they didn't have one of the tackles, the Houston kid. So I think injuries is part of the problem on defense. That I would think is a factor for them. Turnovers by the quarterback. He always gets into this I got to do everything mode, right? And then all of a sudden he's turning the ball over. But maybe it's just a sign and signal that the league's pretty close in a lot of ways. I would still bet on them. I'll ask you, would you bet on them to make the playoffs? I would.
They're the 7 seed right now. I will say that. They are the 7 seed right now. But talented teams who are behind them, like Cincinnati, okay, for those that still want to invest in the Chargers. I mean, is the Chargers the AFC version of the Vikings? I'll just throw that one out.
Yeah, I absolutely think that's who they are. I do not trust the Chargers. On any given Sunday, they might throw, for 400 and beat you, but there's no defense there. That's the other thing. They really don't play defense. Who's the team we're not talking about? That Cleveland? Cleveland, they might be good enough to get into the playoff picture. We're still not talking about Pittsburgh, yet they're kind of hanging in there. And we don't think they play offense. So there's a lot of limitations in all those groups. Where do you go to the other conference? Where do you see Atlanta? They a playoff team? Because I can't find a 7th team worthy of the playoffs in the NFC.
Well, right now, for what it's worth, the Bucs are the 7 seed at 3-3. Many expect them to lose to Buffalo Thursday night, which means the 7 seed in the NFC Friday morning, in theory, could have a record of 3-4, which kind of lets you know where that conference is right now. Pat, Mark and I think that Atlanta win in Tampa, quite frankly, we thought if Tampa won that game, they'd end up winning the NFC South. That's a huge win for Atlanta.
It is a big win for them in a lot of ways. I mean, the kid finally won a road game, which he's not done. Arthur plays it close to the vest. He wants to be a running team. He didn't even have Bijan Robinson, really. He had 1 carry in the whole game. I love that the league's investigating it. What happens if you wake up and you're sick? He's active. He was on the roster. He actually got on the field. Why do they owe the league any information about that? He got a headache and he was sick and it sounded like he had the flu. But no, we're going to investigate. We're investigating for one reason: gamblers.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry about that, gamblers. You're betting on football with your mortgage. You'll be in the home street before you know it. I mean, we don't owe them anything. It's football season. Sooner or later, we got to address this from a football perspective. Oh, Bijan can't come down to breakfast this morning. He's still in bed. He feels terrible. He's got a massive headache. Quick, call the league office. Tell him we're not. Come on. This is nonsense. We never stopped Belichick for all the years he was winning Super Bowls and not saying anything about his players.
You know, you mentioned all these teams, and it's easy to go right to the top, but I think Sunday showed even more so that the Chiefs right now, at least at this point in time, Pat, with what the Niners have done, the Chiefs are clearly the best team in the league. They beat down the Chargers to show us what LA is all about. And even without a receiving core, they added Hardman, but this team it's the defense, Pat, that it continues to impress me.
Yeah, Spags is doing a great job. I mean, you got the Kansas City offense. You know what they are. You know how explosive they are. And then you have a defense that's holding guys around 20 points a game. That's the formula for greatness, really. But how many years in a row do I have to go to Kansas City? It's kind of sad that I'm on a first-name basis with the bartender in a steakhouse in Kansas City. I've been there so many times.
It's going to be 6th year in a row they're going to be hosting the AFC title game, you know.
Well, is Philadelphia the next team? When you look at everything, are they really that team? I thought 3 weeks ago and I said it on this air, San Francisco is separating themselves from everybody. Back down to earth. Detroit, back down to earth. Dallas, did the flight ever take off? Seattle, wild card at best. Buffalo. I mean, you made a nice analogy, but who's the team in the NFC that's Buffalo?
The team in the NFC that's Buffalo. Dallas.
Dallas. Yeah. So what's the definition of what we just asked and answered all together? Is that you don't trust them. You think there's a great roster, but they just don't deliver all the time, or enough that you feel like they'd be. Who the Final Four? Like, I'll get asked that again today. Who are the Final Four? All right, Philadelphia and San Francisco. I feel good about saying that. Kansas City. Now, here's Jimmy's answer to it. Kansas City and Jacksonville.
Was going to say the same thing, Pat.
Yeah.
I think Jacksonville's in a great spot. I think Jacksonville is flying under the radar right now because there's so much talk of Miami or Buffalo or whatever the case may be, that Jacksonville gets to play in the AFC South, not get noticed, and they just keep getting better each week.
Yep. And their defense is really playing pretty good. That was Jim's answer to it. My answer was, I think today, ask me again next week, but today I think it's Baltimore.
There you go.
And it's not Lamar so much, although he played terrific. It's all those sacks their sack formula is the old Patriot formula. Everybody with 6 or 7 sacks. How many different guys have gotten to the quarterback there? And they played like a month without some of their pass rushers. So they got a nice scheme on defense. Maybe that's nothing changes. We think all this volatility. So I picked Baltimore. Jimmy picked Jacksonville. We both picked 49ers and Philly. So maybe we see the top, but we don't see anything else.
Pat, how come the two best teams in the league are the Eagles and the Chiefs, and how come they're the ones fortifying their roster in the last 10 days and no one else is? Eagles made a trade yesterday. Yeah. The Chiefs have picked up 2 quality players off the street. Okay, now granted, they all wanted the return there because what a great organization it is and what have you. But Pat, I mean, it's a copycat league. How come no one's copycatting them?
I'm with you. And yesterday and now, right again, to me, I'll use an example I use. You tell me if you like it. Like all of a sudden, Atlanta can be there. They could A, win the division, and B, certainly make the playoffs. And I said, why aren't they trading for D-Hop? Kevin Byard is the one who went to Philly. What's that signal to you what Tennessee's willing to do? I'd be looking, hey, come on. Hopkins is going to be losing his mind here. They don't throw the ball. The quarterback's got like 2 or 3 touchdowns. I'd be asking, and I'd give him something for him, not a 5 and a 6 or a 6 and a 7. Atlanta, to me, if they put that guy out there with what they have at the tight end and the other wide receiver, I think they'd be very dangerous.
And I think Dallas should be making a move, Pat. I don't think Dallas has enough weapons. If we're going to take the Cowboys seriously, I think they need another weapon on offense.
A running back? I don't think Tony Pollard can do this by himself. That'd be where I'd be going if I were them. So, yes, to David's point, that you had a couple days left, make a move, right? And I think they should.
Trade deadline is a week from today. It is Halloween mid-afternoon, around 3-4 o'clock. That is the trade deadline in the NFL. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today Show. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan on the other side. Matt Baker to talk college football in 25 minutes here on Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What's new, Mark?
Oh, a little bit of everything. You know, Mr. Mom type of year, nonstop with that stuff. Got a house I'm closing on today, so that's a good thing. I actually make some money today.
Great.
Unlike the radio business.
Yeah.
And thank you, even though you didn't know it. I'm taking your tickets Saturday night to the.
I remember you saying you'd like to go. I'm glad you.
I let David offer him to Casio first because he's got the two boys who just apparently love the Everblades. But he's got something going on. So, yeah, I'm going to take my daughter and we're going to go.
Good. Yeah. Well, say hello to the GM when you see him.
Oh, right away. No, Craig and I get along fine now.
How's his wife? Do you get along with her?
Not at all.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Nope. That was, he wanted to make sure he brought his wife in. After 25 years of being a mom, she ran the F&B department for that place, and she knew all the answers. And I was dumb enough to fight her on it.
Well, my wife sees her frequently.
Oh, I'm sure, because they're both, you guys are in West Bay, right?
Yeah, and
they're in West Bay. They have been for years.
She's involved with the St. Janice, like the book club, and some of the things that.
And she's perfect for all of those things. It's what she should have been doing for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. But every time Janet, she's on the phone with her or talking about a meeting or something, I always think of you. I never say anything to her. I go, oh, Mark's favorite person is on the phone. Oh God, the sun's coming up. David. I was that guy behind you was jet black when I got on with you, and I could see the sun's coming up.
Yep. This is right around the time yesterday that the sun began to rise.
How many guys rushed for at least 100 yards this past weekend?
Ooh, 100 yards this past weekend.
I'm going to take just a stab and go
3.
2.
1. Walker from Seattle. Only guy.
That's it? Buck 5? He was it?
Yep. What's that tell you about the running games?
Well, first off, a lot of teams aren't committed to it.
I know, and some of them got slammed trying to do it.
I mean, the Niners rushed for what, 65 yards last night? Something like that?
Yeah. One guy. I was like, oh my goodness. I was waiting for a 0, but I found one. I said, oh, damn it. Oh, how about, I won't call him my guy, but I've been talking about him since the Senior Bowl, Tyson Bagent.
Well,
you have.
Your co-host and I were texting Sunday, okay, in which I told him, I said, our theory on our little show is that he may not be Brock Purdy, but he is going to end the Justin Fields era, that he will do all the simple things, the right reads, and that the coaching staff or whoever's left at the end of the year will at least come to the conclusion. I don't know if this guy's the answer, but I know that guy's not.
He's definitely clearing and clarifying what the other guy isn't. But I love Tyson, number 1. Number 2, I would have put Justin on IR, got 4 weeks to put this kid in a window and see a month of him. And you know, Chow told me dislocated throwing thumb 2 to 4. That's all I needed to know, and I would have done it.
Saw a funny tweet. Said there were no injuries on the tush push in the Eagles game, but there were 2 Dolphins injured on crossing patterns.
Well, you know what? You got to throw crossing routes to guys there's a corner squatting over there and he's running right at them, and they don't sit down enough. So, yeah, someone did get hurt on a sneak this weekend. The 2 Giants still haven't returned.
Joe Thomas offered, he had a long tweet yesterday offering how he'd stop it, which I thought was interesting. Says the linebackers got to get in and be pushing the defensive linemen the same way that
Yeah, I've said it 100 times.
and
That's
that
real
the ends have to come around and tackle the guys who are pushing behind the quarterback.
They have to shoot on their legs and knock them out. But I don't think you're going to stop it until you take 2 offensive tackles and put them on defense for the play and make them the pushers behind the other, the defensive tackles.
Right.
Power pushers. And then that's a real scrum. That's how they do it in rugby.
10 seconds.
But did Felipe just talk after that Miami performance? Did he just talk?
My gosh, when will you let that down?
This is it. It's a one-day protest. My fault, but I'm blaming you.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today show. His show with Jim Miller, by the way, is 3 to 7 weekdays and 2 to 5 on Saturdays during the season. He takes Saturdays off during the off season. Of course, the joke is Pat thinks the off season lasts for 12 days, but fortunately, his bosses don't feel the same way. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh.
You mentioned Lamar Jackson briefly earlier. Just how impressed were you with what Baltimore did? To me, my big takeaway was how good their offensive line played because they allowed Lamar to make all of those plays. But what was your takeaway from the game, Pat?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. He was poised. He didn't have, although he ran now 9 times and he ran a lot early. It goes back to, can you prepare for Lamar? And he took advantage of that. But I was watching Ronnie Stanley. Now you don't see this a lot, and it's not when they play unbalanced, but they took Ronnie Stanley, the terrific left tackle, and I saw him put him at right tackle when they wanted to run the toss that way. Did you ever see how he got out in front of things? So they're going to make Ronnie Stanley the point of attack for more of the running game. It reminds me of the days when Pittsburgh ran behind Alan Faneca, no matter what. And he was on the left side, they ran power. If he was on the left side, which he always was, and they wanted to run to right, they pulled him and ran G scheme. So I thought they used Ronnie Stanley to enhance whatever running game they could find. It was good, really good. The pass rush of the defense, they got complimentary players making plays. So, look, he's not really a pocket passer. I saw him hit Ricard. Now you know he's finding guys. How many times would he have thrown to Ricard down the sideline? In any other year, he's running on that play. To go all the way back to your fourth read and hit it was impressive. So I do like where Lamar is right now. Just got to stay with it, Lamar, and be happy that you're growing in that direction.
So when one of the best players on the team after a disheartening loss interrupts a reporter's question and simply says, "I'm sick of this blank. I am blank and sick of this losing blank." And that's what happened with the Commanders. I mean, Pat, I don't know what we think of this team, but they've lost a couple games recently. I mean, man, oh man, they can't beat the Giants. Can't beat this version of the Giants. I mean, you'd be 4-3. Do you know how good that would look in the NFC right now? 4-3.
No, that empty spot at the 7 seed would be theirs.
Yeah.
At worst. Yeah. So, are you going? I know where you're going with this. Is the coach going to survive this? Probably not. Right. New ownership. Trying to get the stadium thing going. There's two things that always pressure points the coach. New ownership is always a pressure point. And Ron has gone through it before in Carolina. New owner, bye-bye Ron. And then if you're going for a stadium and you need public support, you really like to make sure they feel good. And they'll be calling for Ron's head. And they already are. So that's where that is. But it does lead me to this quarterback controversy world that we're in. Like we talked a little bit off the air, Chicago, but now let's just start with Washington. I think the kid is tough, but they're not winning. Is there a quarterback on that bench that you think that guy might be able to come in here and win? And I say that because the guy off the bench in New York, right now, no one wants to Tyrod Taylor leave the field. That's one of them. Right now in Chicago, no one wants Bajan to leave the field. If you put the guy in Washington out on the field, David,
do you think Jacoby Brissett is the answer?
No, it's nothing. No one's the answer unless you have an elite quarterback. So the question becomes, is there more of a playbook with Jacoby? Because there's more of a playbook with Bajan.
Well, the one thing I would say is, yeah, Howell's tough, but how much of those sacks are the fact that he holds on to the ball a long time?
That's the point.
I mean, Brissett at least would, and Daniel Jones holds on to it a long time too. Taylor, I don't think is as good as Jones, but he gets rid of the ball more quickly. I do think Jacoby at least would get the ball out half the time that Howell doesn't.
And that's my point. So there are some quarterback controversies that are on the table right now. And you're a Giant fan, but the Giant fans would be very happy if they were told today or tomorrow, Tyrod's going again. They would be happy. I had a guy on our show stand up and say they're better with Tyrod on the field. They didn't say Tyrod's a better player or a good player. They just think in that situation he is. I feel that way maybe in Chicago, that there's more of a playbook already with Tyson Bagent. So there's a couple of those brewing. I don't think P.J. Walker will ever be the guy they cheer for over Watson, but, when they said it was precautionary with Watson, did you find it suspicious?
I thought it was a benching, Pat. I thought it was a flat-out benching. They saw that ball, that interception that he threw, and said, I can't put this guy back on the field today.
I love that I asked that question because no one said that to me, but I was looking at it too going, he passed concussion protocol. They can lean on the shoulders. His shoulder got banged up. What do you think, David?
Well, I thought, quite frankly, he was trying to play through injury. He had already thrown one lame duck for a pick. The second one got overturned. But to me, it was obvious he was not healthy enough to play. He could not throw the ball. Okay, I thought they benched him because they realized we shouldn't have him out here.
Once you saw him throw, and that's what they told me 2 weeks ago. Remember that Sunday morning? We're going to work him out, see if he can go. They said it was horrendous. There was no chance he could play. And so he's still in a physical situation. So I just go around the league and say, these losing records, there's a lot of losing records and there's a lot of disappointment. And I think maybe Washington's my favorite example. Just put old Jacoby out there and see if the team functions better.
Pat, you brought it up during the break. We had one guy who carried for over 100 yards, and that's Kenneth Walker. But I bring this up because of Tampa, and you look at the Bucs right now. They can't run the football. Baker's not good enough to carry a team. What do you do if you're Tampa when you've got two elite receivers or one elite receiver, one good two, and a mediocre quarterback, maybe an average quarterback trying to lead this team when you can't run the football? What do you do if you're Tampa?
Well, they can't fix the quarterback because Baker's the best quarterback on the roster, and no one's given up a quarterback. So you go fix the running game. That's what you fixed. I talked to their head coach yesterday about that subject, and he was quick to say, and it's true, that I know I like White. Now, did they run the ball enough? That was my first question. But he likes to count the 6 receptions he had. He said, we're enhancing his skills by giving the ball, in short passing game and let him run with it. And he was 6 targets, 6 receptions. So that's their answer today, that we'll use our running back in that direction. And he said this, because of Mike Evans and Chris, he goes, we have real opportunities in the underneath passing game, because when those guys go downfield, they're vacating 4 defensive players.
What bothers me is Kareem Hunt was there, and for a month they didn't sign him. Cam Akers was readily available. They didn't get him. These both are better than anything they have. This is what is bothering me about teams. You cannot tell me $1 million or a 6th-round pick is worth not picking up a player who's better. That's absurd.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you've been a GM in waiting for a long time, and just keep your hat on. It's coming sooner or later.
We'll run out of time, Pat. You keep, the job offers aren't coming in. The only way we're getting there is if you get there, and you don't want to go there.
No, I never want to go there again. I'll see 2,000 Everblade games before I ever consider a job.
Well, can't you recommend one of us then? You recommend all these other people for jobs.
You know what? I would. Except my fear is if one of you left, the other one would ask me to join that show. I'd like to just keep this the way it is. Because I would say yes.
That's outstanding, Pat.
Pat
Kirwan, I will take this personal. And, Mark was very complimentary in the introduction today, except for the word occasionally funny. Occasionally funny. I try hard every damn week to be funny with you guys.
Pat Kirwan, always funny and always available, and seemingly always on NFL radio 3 to 7 and 2 to 5 on Saturdays with his co-host Jim Miller, moving the chains. And then he helps produce this NFL Today show on CBS. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers. Well, Pat, until our phone rings, I guess we'll have you back on Friday.
I passed this week's audition. Thank you.
Pat Kirwan. Matt Baker, Tampa Bay Times. College football talk is next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA-certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA-certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, I'm ready to put a second poll question up.
Uh-oh.
On National Bologna Day, what is the best way to eat bologna, regular, fried, or ground?
Done. Why? What took you so long?
It's up.
Regular. For me.
Man, Dockich takes on everybody on Twitter. He's an angry son of a gun.
I think it's a prerequisite to be on Outkick.
To be angry and take on everyone? I thought my line was understated yesterday when Cassio said he liked the song. And I said, what's next? You're going to produce a Biden podcast? I thought that was pretty solid.
I thought it was excellent. Canada relief, really? Really?
Yeah, people ground bologna. Ground bologna sandwich. I grew up on the damn things. I don't even know if it'll get a vote, but it's up there.
I don't know how many votes the poll question will get, but it's all right.
Sorry, it's very Dan Patrick. Put one up the next hour. I've got the 4-letter network on, and it's all football guys and Windhorse because it's the first day of the NBA. And they started out, all of them were doing this to him.
Okay, that's good.
That's funny. It's funny's funny.
That's good.
And they got a big set today, so they had 5 of them doing it. It was
good.
Matt's on hold. We got 30 seconds.
Felipe's NBA preview coming up next hour.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. It's our final segment along the network. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. The bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour for Southwest Florida. Matt Baker is kind enough to join us right now, and it's been a while. He's a busy guy, a Heisman voter, an AP Top 25 voter, and he's covering college football in this state for the Tampa Bay Times. Follow Matt on Twitter/X anyway, at MBakerTBTimes, MBakerTBTimes. Matt, it's David and Mark. How you been?
I'm hanging in there. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Well, it is our pleasure. Listen, are you enjoying this season as much as we are? That I don't know if this 12-team playoff is going to work in the future when we're down to 2 or 3 conferences, but boy, would it be amazing if it was this year.
Absolutely. It'd be amazing. Well, first of all, I am enjoying the season. I mean, it's refreshing for me to go into Florida-Georgia week thinking that Florida's got a puncher's chance here because Georgia's not just this juggernaut has been the last couple of years. And obviously we've seen Alabama take a step back and some of the other programs take a step forward, and Florida State and Washington. And yeah, it's refreshing to have the usual suspects are all at least good, but there's other teams that are in that mix as well without a true juggernaut. So it's been fun to enjoy. It's been fun to cover, lots of entertaining teams. And yeah, I'd absolutely love to see a 12-team playoff where, Washington plays Florida State in round 2 and stuff like that.
Just before we get into Florida, Georgia, and things going on in the state, just your thoughts on what's going on in Ann Arbor with the sign stealing, the tickets being purchased, the number of games that this man has purchased tickets for. Just your thoughts on what's going on in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts, right? Let's start there. I mean, everybody steals signs, or just about everybody does, but there's ways you do it legally. And there's ways you do it that clearly cross a line. And anyway, if this stuff is accurate, well, first of all, it doesn't pass the smell test. Let's start there. And if this stuff is as accurate as it seems to be and as ironclad as it seems to be, this is really bad. And it's not the only bad thing going on in Michigan, too. Let's not forget the fact that Harbaugh was suspended for a couple games. That whole thing is going around with it was a cheeseburger, but it's not just a cheeseburger. And it makes you wonder what all is going on at Michigan with Harbaugh. And normally you could kind of chalk it up to, it's his college football. Everybody cheats to some degree, but Michigan made such a big deal and has made such a big deal over the years about we don't just win. We win with integrity. We win with class. We win with honor, this sort of thing. And then when you've got a couple issues like this in a short time span, really makes you wonder. Let's put it that way.
Matt, and before we move on, I just want to throw this out there. Do you think there is a chance that Michigan's eligibility this year could be in question because of this story? Or is this going to be the traditional, the 2024, 2025 Michigan teams are really going to pay a price?
I think it's probably more the latter. This one is different than some of the ones in the past because, again, this seems pretty cut and dry, right? Like if a guy who was on staff or was involved in the program at the time, whatever the details are, was buying tickets where you could clearly see the opposing team's bench, and if there's video evidence, it seems pretty obvious. But when was the last time the NCAA saw something obvious and then acted quickly?
But Matt, forget the NCAA. What if you're running the Big Ten? If you have evidence that one of your teams this season was cheating, don't you have to do something as a conference?
Maybe. I don't know what the bylaws and all that entail. Like, I don't know how often. I mean, there's probably been examples where conferences have taken away wins or done something like that. I can't think of any off the top of my head because usually it's an NCAA thing. And then I guess Michigan would respond too is, okay, if the Big Ten is forcing us to do this, why are you telling us this and the NCAA can't, right? So there's going to be weird jurisdiction and all that kind of stuff in there. This is just a very, college football is full of odd and stupid. This is odd and stupid in a different way. And I don't know how it's going to shake out because your points are well taken. Like this was found out in enough time where, in theory, you could investigate and adjudicate if it's all as obvious as it seems. But nothing is obvious in this sport. Nothing makes any sense. The timelines are nonsensical. So I still think the most likely scenario is that Michigan gets in trouble in 2033 and Harbaugh's and pushing the Rams or whatever by then, right?
No doubt, Matt. You're on to something there. Matt Baker, Tampa Bay Times, joining us here on Miller and Moulton. All right, the cocktail party. Give me an area where you feel maybe not comfortable, but you feel good about what Florida can do Saturday.
I think they can complete passes. That's a really basic thing, but Graham Mertz is the third most accurate quarterback in the country, or third highest completion percentage, I should probably say. And I don't think that's going to change. I mean, I don't think he's going to, complete 77% of his passes against Georgia, but I still think he's going to throw at a high clip, and his receivers are going to come down and catch him. I feel pretty good about that, about Mertz being efficient. I don't think this is going to be one of those things where the moment is too big for him, the way it was with Anthony Richardson a couple of years ago. I don't think it's going to be that. I don't know about the run game. I don't know about the defense. I don't know about special teams, but I feel pretty good that about Graham Mertz completing a good percentage of his passes to, maybe keep things competitive.
Is the reason you believe Florida has a puncher's chance because Georgia's without Brock Bowers?
That is a whole heck of a lot of it, yes. Just because, Brock is a special player. He's certainly the best tight end the game's seen since Kyle Pitts, and you probably have to go back further than that even. Just the way he can do, not just catching, but he's a good blocker. He's fast and not just big, and then they could do the jet sweep stuff with him. He's such a Swiss Army knife for that offense. And yeah, Billy Napier had a good point yesterday. Maybe if Georgia got an advantage just when the bye week fell, where they had more time to kind of think of, okay, what's life going to be like without this guy? But there's no replacement for him. There's not in the country unless you go to the NFL. So they're going to have to do things differently. And, maybe they'll have some new wrinkles that Florida wouldn't necessarily expect with just different guys and sharing those rules. But if he's on the field, I do not feel good about Florida's chances at all. But with him, we presume sidelined, then I think Florida does have a puncher's chance here.
Beckett's gotten a hell of a lot better at quarterback. Obviously without Bowers there, it's going to change things, but it certainly seems that this will be a game played by the passers.
I think it could be. You're right. Beck has played well. He has gotten better and more confident as the season goes on, looking like the blue chip recruit that he was. I still think Georgia's ground game is going to have a say in this just because that's the way Georgia is. And I could certainly envision a scenario where Kirby Smart and his background says, you know what, we lost our All-American tight end, clear best player in the team, one of the best in the country. I don't trust the passing game as much without him as a security blanket. I'm going to go back to what I know and trust, which is running the ball and trying to jam it down their throats. And so maybe there's a way that Georgia kind of goes that way. But I think certainly for Florida to win, I think they're going to have to pass the ball well, because I don't know if they're going to, honestly, Florida's run game has kind of been underwhelming this year. And I don't know that this is the game where you're going to jumpstart it.
And the defense needs to show back up. The last couple times they haven't played at the Swamp against Kentucky and South Carolina, they've been gashed for nearly 80 points. Matt Baker of the Tampa Bay Times. Let's talk Noles. Kind of quietly after their strong September, here they are, undefeated in the top 5. You reported yesterday they're going to make a couple $100 million at least, maybe more. They're going to invest into Doak Campbell Stadium. Never mind the whole looming trying to get out of the ACC thing. These are interesting and terrific times all at the same time in Tallahassee.
Oh, no question. Look, I think I think Washington's the most entertaining team in the country just to watch as, take my reporter hat off, put on just a guy who loves the sport. Washington's the most fun team in the country. Florida State's not far behind with just the offense they run, the explosive plays. Jordan Travis, when he's on, he is on. Start with that part, and then add in obviously the fact that they're undefeated. They've got 2 cupcakes here in Wake and Pitt that I don't think the Noles would have a problem with, and then comes down to Florida and the regular season finale in Miami, November 11th. But this is a team that should absolutely make the ACC championship. I think they're absolutely a playoff team. I think what we've seen through the first 7 games, they're a team that, in my mind, has a shot, again, a puncher's chance at winning it all. And then, the Doak renovation is another part of this, where they've been investing a lot in facilities the way they didn't in the past, where they started work on the standalone football complex, a couple $100 million into Doak to just bring it up to probably the level it needs to be. And then who the heck knows on realignment? I've given up trying to predict that, but those conversations, all that dialogue, all that stuff is ongoing, and I don't know where it's going to lead, but certainly Florida State is in a much better position than they were a couple years ago and got here, I think, faster and higher than I expected in some ways.
Off the field, UCF's obviously in a much better position because they're in the Big 12. How important is it for them to get a win here in conference? It just seemed, obviously they played a terrific game against Oklahoma, had the opportunity to tie it with a 2-pointer, came up short. But how important is it for them to get a conference win?
It's critical. I mean, just to continue that momentum where they're moving up into a bigger conference and everything, it's all sunshine and rainbows and puppy dogs and all that stuff's great. and it sounds great. And the paycheck's going to cash the same. All that stuff's wonderful. But then you got to play the games. And UCF has, they did a really good job recruiting the last couple of years. Now they're able to sell that Big 12 experience and the Big 12 brand. But I got news for you. If I'm a blue chip recruit, I don't want to go to somebody that's going to be last in the power conference. Right? Like that's not the way it's going to work, especially if you're fighting for in-state guys with Florida State that's at a high level, and Florida that maybe is starting to turn it around maybe, and same thing with Miami. So UCF needs to get some momentum here. They need to string together a win or two, and I think West Virginia is probably maybe the best option. I think they can get it done this weekend just because the Mountaineers have been kind of up and down, but they absolutely have to do something to show that, hey, we're not just a power conference team. We're a power conference team that belongs and can, we're not a basement dweller either.
Boy, how much better would things look and feel if they had just held on to that Baylor game when they were up 25 in the third quarter. Hey, do you think we look back a year from now and point to the Miami win over Clemson? Remember Florida State last year, 4-0, then 4-3, and then they haven't lost since. I'm not saying that Miami's about to do that, but I'm just wondering if beating Clemson is what we look back on a year from now and say, this is kind of where it started for Miami.
So the optimistic answer is yes. Not just beating Clemson, but beating them in double overtime the way they did without, one of their starting running backs and a couple D linemen, and obviously Tyler Van Dyke, an excellent quarterback. So that's the optimistic answer. My actual answer would probably be, I don't think so, because I left Hard Rock Stadium after the Texas A&M game. I wasn't saying that Miami is back, but I was saying okay, you can see it. You can see how the pieces are going to fit in the way, the blueprint to get to where they want to go. And then they laid a couple eggs. So I'm not ready to say that yet. I want to see more just because God knows we've been burned too many times on, oh my God, the U is back, and they're not. So I want to see a little bit more, but it was definitely a step in the right direction and one of those potential turning points, one of those watershed moments where you could see the program start to shift.
And Matt, we mentioned that you're not just a Heisman, you're an AP Top 25 voter. If you would, and I know that the ballots are released publicly, but just tell everybody your top 5 this week was?
Yeah, I had Ohio State 1. I've had them 1 the last couple weeks. I think I started after the Notre Dame game and I kept them. And I feel a little bit better about that after the Penn State game. Got Florida State 2, Michigan 3, Georgia 4, Washington 5, and Oklahoma 6. Honestly, I see very little separation between 1 and 6. I feel a little bit worse about Oklahoma after the UCF game. Same with Washington, I suppose. But the body of work those guys have put in over the years is still pretty strong. So I think there's a very good chance that those 6 have 3 or 4 of the playoff spots. Pac-12, I'm still a giant. I don't know. But I put them, kind of said for a couple weeks now, put those 6 or 7 in a hat, draw them out, and that'd be fine. So I'm still kind of in that mold where, I don't know that Florida State's not the best team in the country. I don't know that Michigan's not. But right now I've got those 2 and 3.
Well, Matt, safe travels to Jacksonville for the cocktail party, and thanks so much for your time, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Matt Baker, Tampa Bay Times. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X, at MBakerTBTimes, MBakerTBTimes.
Tough to argue with his number one based on their body of work. There's no team with 2 more impressive wins than the Buckeyes right now.
It's why I wanted him to divulge his ballot. He is willing to do it based on what it is you've actually done on the field. You know, he said Michigan might be the best, but look at who they played. Can I really vote him number one?
And the polls don't matter right now anyhow.
Right.
Because Michigan's going to play Ohio State. We'll figure this all out. We hope you enjoyed us today on the syndicated part of the show, the bonus hour in the 239. That's next.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So what? You fly back to Jacksonville and then drive in here after the show tomorrow, or drive in here after the show Thursday?
No, I drive tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
I've do the show. I got a couple of appointments, and then I'll get on the road early afternoon and probably get there around 7. And I'm going to stay over Thursday. So I'll do Thursday and Friday in studio and then get on the road. Is there anything should we cut some stuff? Should we cut some promos? Should we cut an ad soliciting advertising? Is there anything we should cut?
Probably not a bad idea to cut the ad soliciting advertising. Speaking of which,
Felipe, get ready. Not this segment, but next. Okay. Rapid fire. We're going to pepper you with NBA questions. Quick answers, though.
All right.
Okay. Just rapid fire questions.
I even did my own version of what I think the seedings will be at the end of the year.
Oh boy.
Just no detail, though.
All
just
right.
very quick. Remember, most of the audience doesn't care. So it's
he's doing you a solid, because what I was going to suggest of giving you a segment for your NBA season preview, but it was during a 24-second shot clock, and that was all you got.
And it's only because this is your last week.
10 seconds.
We'll go for it's a 10-minute segment. We'll go as long as you're entertaining. So it could be really short.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour, just like that on a Tuesday. We hope your week has gotten off to a good start, and thanks for being with us today, Miller and Moulton. 6 to 9, we're also along the Florida Sports Network, but this hour is exclusive to our loyal home base in the 239. We struggled to come up with a poll question today, and then we came up with 2. It's funny. I'm looking at the responses in our Twitch chat room, and I've come up with a poll question that we need to use either tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. Now, remember this, because we do this all the time.
I know. All right, I'm ready.
We do this all the time. We say, hey, this would be a good poll question, and then we forget
I'm ready.
it. Okay.
Got my phone out. I'm going to put a note in it.
If you're a Gators fan and you could knock one team out of the playoff with an upset win, who would it be? Florida State or Georgia?
That's a great question.
So we need to, because, we had Matt Baker on for the Tampa Bay Times last segment. If you missed it, download it, floridasportsnetwork.com, along with Pat Kirwan and David Samson on the show today. Solid show, if we do say so. And he's like, listen, I think without Brock Bowers, Gators got a puncher's chance. And they haven't had one of those in the last couple of years. And I don't want to honk a bunch of you off or whatever, but, this rivalry, and it is a rivalry, I get it. This is my 18th Florida-Georgia game in a row. Do you know how many are memorable? This game in the last 25 years, you say whatever you want about Texas and Oklahoma and Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Auburn. They produce games. Both sides can win. Auburn has upset Alabama 3 times in the last dozen years, in which it's been painful. I mean, we all can recount the Ohio State and Michigan games and Biaka Batuka 300 yards rushing to keep the Buckeyes from winning a national title. And this game, it doesn't have it. Maybe it did pre-Spurrier. But let me tell you, over the last 30 years, the favorite wins this game. I mean, the Gators, the one year, Mark Richt, probably his first really good Georgia team. And DJ Shockley, their quarterback, couldn't play in this game. And Zook beat him. And it was Georgia's only loss that year. Probably cost them playing for the national title. But Mark, Georgia in 2012, they were ranked like 10th in the country when Florida was unbeaten and ranked second in the country. It was a toss-up game. Florida 5 turnovers, Georgia won. Georgia wins the East. Almost beat Alabama in the SEC title game, which was the de facto national title game. 3 years ago, I'll give Dan Mullen, Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts. They upset Georgia. They did. That was an upset. They beat them. The wheel route, ran it all day. Georgia never stopped it. Okay? But, I'd like a game, Mark. This is my last one. I'd like a game. I'd like a game 10 years from now we're talking about.
It would be nice. I don't see it.
This rivalry hasn't produced it lately.
And based on the, quick response in our Twitch chat room to that, the Gator fan clearly saying Florida State over Georgia of who they'd rather beat. And not close. Not one person said Georgia.
I love that. I do love that. Would that change at all, by the way, if they joined the SEC?
No.
Right? Would it make it more intense? How would that work?
I think it would be the same. But, David, if somehow, some way they join the Big Ten, it would even be more intense.
Oh, yes, it would. You know what? I'd be willing.
Florida State, for the first time, would have more. Sorry, David, but that would mean one thing. Florida State would be making more money than Florida for the first time ever.
Listen, if we're going to have absolute madness in college football, which we're a step away from, that's what I'm voting for. Of course, it'd be hysterical that they'd be a member of the Big 24 and we'd call it the Big 10. But anyway, so that's going to be a poll question. All right. Probably Friday's poll question is, who are you going to take? Georgia minus 14.5, Florida plus 14.5. And by the way, we're taking the half. We took it yesterday when it came out. I don't care what it gets bet down to. Miller and Moulton, if we want the game, it's at 14.5. We called it yesterday. Okay. That's the rule.
We called it yesterday.
We did. We called it yesterday. The line was 14.5 yesterday. We both said we're taking the 14.5.
I still have it at 14.5 as of this moment. You and I think it may get bet down to 13.5.
Or at 14 at least, and we're taking the damn half point.
And we're not paying for it.
No. So there. But I'm just curious, Florida fans feeling like, hey, there is enough interesting about this team. We got 2 heavyweights left on the schedule. I know we got LSU, but whatever. They're a light heavyweight. Okay, we got Georgia, we got Florida State. And if we could beat one of them and keep them out of the playoff, who would it be?
Yeah, I think based on early polling, David, that answer could be 85-15 Knowles.
It's okay. I want the result posted.
I'm with you.
By the way, I think Florida State fan would get a kick out of. They'd be like, that's right. That's right. Oh, it's great that game is going to have real national meaning, not just have statewide meaning. I so want to do that. We're not going to do that game. We're probably going to end up with the damn Iron Bowl, but golly.
What would it take for you to get that game?
LSU would have to beat Alabama, number 1. There's no chance of not doing the Iron Bowl if
Alabama's still in the national champion, because they would still be in the national championship picture.
Not if they lose to LSU.
No, if they beat LSU, they're still in the national championship picture.
And
you've got to take it.
And the fact the game's at Auburn. And usually, outside of the Canton back, right. Funny things happen on the plains. Like 2 years ago, Bryce Young had to go 90-something yards and throw a tying touchdown just to force overtime. I mean, against a Auburn team that I don't even know if they're bowl eligible. I mean, that's a rivalry that has produced moments and games and upsets. And boy, it'd be nice I'd love for Florida to take Georgia deep into the fourth quarter. That would be awesome. Do you imagine Georgia the ball on their own 25 down 3 with like 8 minutes to go?
Hey, I'd like to see Georgia in that position a few times in the next month.
Well, Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. That's the 4 in a row for the Dogs coming out of their bye. And right now the plan is all of them without Brock Bowers.
And I think Missouri's got the best shot for what it's worth.
I think Ole Miss does. Because I think Ole Miss may get Georgia after they've been softened up. That Florida and Missouri and what have you, and then all of a sudden Lane comes in. Lane will have, had enough on tape without Brock Bowers. And, Lane went toe-to-toe with Alabama. They lost. But, that Lane could use a signature win too. It'd be a big deal for Lane. Remember, he's auditioning for the Alabama job, Mark.
No, I'm with you.
He really thinks that this is Nick's last decade. By the 2030s, there will be another coach there. He's auditioning. He's getting in line. They'll have a couple questions. Can you beat Auburn? Hell yeah, I can beat Auburn. Okay. Can you beat Georgia? Did you see 2023? Beat them at their place. Huh? So, yeah.
Would go a long way.
Can
in
you
the
pay
Lane Kiffin resume to get the Alabama job? You are right.
Right. Can you pay homage to Nick Saban? What do you mean? I've been kissing his ass for a dozen years. Of course I can. Hell, if you want, I'll kneel in front of Bear Bryant's statue before every game too. I mean, sure. What do you need?
I can just see the walk that these teams have in the stadium every day. And Lane just dropping to a knee, doing the sign of the cross and walking in.
So the only game that I took my wife to in 18 years covering the SEC, I took her to Tuscaloosa for LSU, Alabama, 2007. Classic game. Here's the only thing she remembers from it. Before the game, I showed her out in front of Bryant-Denny Stadium, and they have a statue for every coach that's won the national championship. Nick hadn't won one yet. And my wife said loudly enough for a lot of people to hear, "Hey, what's with the dead guys?" Oh, my goodness.
I'm surprised you two made it out.
I pulled her close to me and whispered in her ear, "That's Coach Bryant to you and me." And she just looked at me and I go, "We're in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. When I tell you that's Coach Bryant, that's Coach Bryant. I'll explain later."
But it's not the dead guy.
No. And this one guy was staring me down and I go, "Football novice, doesn't understand a thing." I go, "Don't worry. Love Coach Bryant. Had dinner with Joe Namath. He still calls him Coach Bryant. Don't you worry. Okay. It's all good." What's with all the dead guys? Oh, my goodness.
And then read her book during the game, right?
Yeah, totally. It's tie game late, LSU, Alabama, the whole deal. Just reading a book. Nancy Lundquist said to her, we had the monitor set up for her to watch. We had the headphones so she could listen to Vern and Gary call the game. I'm working right in front of her. Okay. Nancy says, "Don't you want to listen to the game?" She says, "No, I'm good. Reading the book." No reason to bring her to any other games.
Nope.
Nope.
That's
so
start at the top. I mean, I don't know what the cocktail party is going to do for her. It's only a block from the house.
No interest. Okay, good. Don't have to get tickets. Fantastic. They're not cheap.
But can the Gators do anything this week against the Dogs in the cocktail party?
What's with the dead guys?
Hey, got to have interests. It's just good to know that both of yours are, well, not football.
Correct. Miller and Moulton. Felipe Alvarez, it's his final week, and we're going to honor him by having a quick rapid-fire NBA preview next.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Wayne.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Felipe is moving on. We have a new producer starting on Monday.
Felipe's getting his life back. He's going to sleep.
My guess is hopefully every once in a while, Felipe may be back from time to time because now Trent has a backup that Felipe never had.
Yes. Yes. I'm the emergency QB, as they say.
There you go.
By the way, I also have 4 bets, like locks, that I have for this season of win totals over under.
Right. The key word in everything that has been said in the last 20 minutes is quick.
I know, and these are quick, but I just want.
There's no explanation really needed because remember, no one gives a shit.
I know. I just like helping people make money. You know, this what I have here is free money.
Mm-hmm.
Buried in bourbon. What are you talking about? Noon kickoff. You talking about for Arkansas? Okay. Here's the deal. CBS is a doubleheader that weekend, including their primetime game. ESPN can't put an SEC game at night up against the CBS primetime game. So the only time to run the games is noon or 4 o'clock. I don't think maybe they can run a 6 o'clock SEC network game, but so So since that was the week that CBS chose to be their prime time game, there wasn't a lot of scheduling options. If we're talking Arkansas and the blackout game, I mean, they just now the Florida State game's a different story. I don't know when that game's going to get played. God, I really think we should do it.
You better root hard for LSU.
Which is funny, though, because I could argue, I mean, but Alabama, if they're nationally relevant. But, I mean, Alabama could have the West wrapped up. I mean, this thing could be wrapped up in like 10 days in the SEC. I mean, if Georgia beats Florida and Missouri, it's pretty much over. They'll be undefeated, and everybody else in the East will have at least 2 conference losses. But yeah, but Buried in Bourbon, it depends on what network it's on. Like if it's on SEC Network, I don't want to say it doesn't count, but it doesn't count. Okay. I think the way it goes is ESPN or ESPN2 can't have an SEC game opposite CBS's primetime game. I don't think SEC Network counts.
It can't count. I mean, you think about it. It can't. Well,
Hmm. 30 seconds. Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, 6 to 9 weekdays along the Florida Sports Network, the 9 o'clock hour exclusively to our loyal base in the 239. And it is brought to you by Todd and Jason and the Diamond District. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts and a pick or two. Got a game 7 tonight. All coming up in about 20 minutes time. But this is Felipe's final week. He is taking his life back. He's not getting up at 4 whatever in the morning and spending it with 2 old guys. Going to go back.
Well, we're going to bring another young guy in next week. He's going to get up at 4 something in the morning to spend his mornings with 2 old guys.
Exactly.
And at this point, he's still excited about it. We'll give him a couple of years and see how he feels.
Exactly. 2 years ago, wasn't Felipe excited about it?
He was.
He was. He was on bended knee 6 weeks ago, practically in tears, going, "Please let me go. Please." And we said, "Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you." So, Felipe, this is for you. We trust me, we would not be doing this if this was not your final week. All right. The NBA season tips off tonight. Doubleheader. Nuggets and the Lakers, 7:30 on TNT, and 10 o'clock, Phoenix and the Warriors. And the only 2 games. All right. Quickly. You ready?
Ready.
Rapid fire. Miller and Moulton can just pull questions out of thin air. You can't think. You just have to spit answers out. Ready? NBA Finals. Who? Go.
Like the matchup or the winner?
The matchup.
Bucks Lakers.
Okay. Wow. LeBron in the finals. All right. Heat over under 44.5 wins.
Over. Close.
Can you believe, Mark, it's that low? I mean, 41 and 41's 500. Their over-under's 44.5.
I'd go over that as well.
They were a play-in team last year. They don't care about the regular season. We know this. All they care about is just sneaking into the playoffs if they have to.
Okay.
And then it's a different game.
Who's the big name player not named James Harden that first demands a trade?
Ooh.
Wow.
Since Harden's already demanded one.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Kyrie Irving. I don't think honestly,
It'd be
I don't think him and Luka last long.
That'd be great. He's an hour and a half into his 3-year extension. That would be spectacular. Orlando Magic, 2-part question. A, over under 37.5.
I have the over on that.
I do as well. B, are they at least a play-in team?
Yes, I have the over on that, and I have them as a play-in team. I have them as the 10th seed.
Okay.
I think they're ready. They're finally ready.
Since he started with your final, who's the 1 seed in the East this year?
Oh, Milwaukee. I have the over on Milwaukee wins 54.5 as well. I think that's a 60-win team. At least 60.
By the way, Celtics with the highest over-under.
Yes, it's 55.5 or 54.
I think the Celtics, I've got 54.5 and the Milwaukee at 53.5. I have those as the two. How does Denver do this year trying to repeat?
I have them as a 2 seed. I think they go to the conference finals, and I think that LeBron and the Lakers get their revenge.
Ooh. People would watch that, I think. People would watch that. Where does James Harden end up?
Oh, boy, that's such a tough question. I don't think that he'll stay in Philly. Obviously, that's a given. But
well, considering he's staying home until they trade him.
I mean, I think the favored choice here is the Clippers.
Yeah, I know, but look at where Dame ended up. Okay, I mean, seriously. Okay, so that's why I wonder, where does James Harden end up?
What do you think of Phoenix this year with a whole year of Durant, and what happens with the Suns?
I think they can improve, but my issue that I have with Phoenix is that they have no depth, and I don't know how far that'll take them into the season. I have them as a 4th seed just because that three-headed monster of Durant, Booker, and Beal is just too much scoring. You can't stop them.
Does it work with Chris Paul in Golden State? Do they have one more run in them?
Yes, I think that the Golden State Warriors have a tremendous year. I have their over on wins. 48.5. I have the over on that.
Oh, wow.
All right. Steph Curry's still in his prime.
This Wembayama guy, Wemby. All right. Is he going to live up to the hype this year?
Yes, only because the Spurs really don't have anyone else. I don't think they'll win a lot of games, but I think his stats will certainly be eye-popping. And he will have some insane games with insane stat lines. Like I'm talking a 37-point triple-double with 10 blocks.
Mark, they have the 3rd lowest over-under. Okay, he is still basically a one-man team here. 28.5 is the Spurs over-under, tied with Detroit for 3rd lowest.
Just curious, you got all the over-unders in front of you there? What's the Pelicans over-under?
44.5.
44.5, yes.
Okay, do they get over, and how many games does Zion play?
In fact, Pelicans wins or number of games Zion plays, over under.
Ooh, that one is
that's
one of
a great.
That's one of those ones that might be pinpoint right on. They might win 45 games, but I have New Orleans actually as an 8th seed.
Okay,
that means Zion plays more than the games than they win.
Because here's the thing: when Zion is actually healthy and playing, they are one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Before Zion went out last year in late November, they were the 1 seed in the West. So they are really good with Zion. And without him, they're barely even a play-in team, which is still pretty good. But with Zion, they're legit.
Surprise team in the NBA this year is
the Indiana Pacers. Book it. The Indiana Pacers are going to be the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. I like the Pacers this year. I'm high on them. And obviously, I have the over on them. 39.5 wins is the line. Take that over. That's free money.
Wow. Those are words that are not spoken by anybody in North America, by the way. Quote, I like the Indiana Pacers this year.
And he was ready for the question, too. I mean, he had that answer out before you asked the question.
Wow. Indiana Pacers. Is it possible to have less sex appeal than the Indiana Pacers?
Yes, I mean, Sacramento Kings.
No, totally disagree.
You
no.
watching basketball last year then?
No.
I know the team is. I'm just talking the team name. There is nothing that screams boring quite like Sacramento.
Well,
Come on, that purple is so nice.
you got a dadgum good point though, but I think he's also thinking about like a 4-day, 3-night weekend and where would he rather be caught, and if he's stuck going to 2 Kings games or 2 Pacers games, where would he rather be stuck?
Think more Charlotte Hornets. They have less sex
Okay,
because they are bad. I have the under on them. 31.5 wins. Yeah, no way they win 31 games. I don't even think they win 27 games.
sex appeal: Indiana Pacers, Oklahoma City Thunder.
That the Thunder are basically the Indiana Pacers version of in the Western Conference, but I think Indiana Pacers.
And then my last question: does Ja Morant turn his life around? Or have we already seen the beginning of the end with him in Memphis?
I will say, even though 2 years ago they had this crazy phenomenon that they were better without him, I think that the Grizzlies will slide early without him. But I think that once he comes back, he'll probably push them and get his life together and get that team back in the playoffs. And I don't know that they'll go far, but I think that they'll sneak into the play-in and then they'll make the playoffs.
I hope you're right, because he's such a talent that you want him to turn his life around.
But what is it, a 15 or 25 game suspension to start the season? That's a lot of games.
25.
25, yeah, it's 25.
Oh.
That's a big hole.
By the way, the team with the 5th highest over-under in the league, Cleveland. Everybody forgets about them because the Knicks took them out in the first round last year. They were the 4th seed in the East. Their over-under is over 50.
I have them as a 3 seed in the East. They're good. And they're young.
There it is.
There
It's
it
our
is.
NBA preview. We'll have to bring Felipe back next year for this segment because I know Trent won't do it.
Maybe throughout the year he can record a 24-second shot clock and we'll play it. Okay, hey, if you haven't been following the NBA, here's Felipe from a distance. Go. And then we'll just play it. Of course, it'll go 4 minutes and 12 seconds, but we'll ask for a 24-second shot clock. This is from 2 middle-aged, long-winded guys named Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Better question, DC. Who cares? Honestly, you still have to, until I actually see some excitement from it, I really don't care about the in-season NBA tournament. You know how crazy it is that Soph's mom listens to the show?
That's really crazy.
That's insane.
Who?
Soph's
His
mom.
girlfriend's mom.
It's like, you're on a radio show? I'm like, Julie, you know nothing about sports. She's like, I don't care.
Wow.
I'm like, damn.
They must really like you.
I think so.
Wow.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour.
Oh my God, stop.
You know, it's a great place to buy a wedding ring. I almost killed David. He nearly choked on the water right there. We went straight out.
It was halfway up the nose. It was.
You
it
got
was halfway up.
There's one more thing that I want to say about the NBA. Have you guys seen the slew of city NBA jerseys for this upcoming season? They are, oh my gosh, they are the worst jerseys I've ever seen.
So they do a different city jersey every year?
Every year, each team has a different city jersey.
Okay. No. I knew I thought it was the same.
And league wide, like some of the laziest designs I've ever seen in my entire life.
Believe it or not, the new guy is he's a Michigan kid, and I knew his dad. His dad reached out to me about 6-8 months ago and said, "My boy's trying to get in this business. Would you talk to him?" And I did.
Mark said, why?
I tried to talk him out of it.
I thought you loved your son.
And then this job came up, and I called Trent again, tried to talk him out of not taking it.
Right. It's shitty hours and money.
Right. And literally, I started it out. I didn't even interview him. I basically asked him if he wanted the job. He wanted to come down and train. Then I tried to talk him out of it.
Yep. And so then we brought him in 4 days worth of training, 4 days where he had to get up. He had to come in, put up with the 1978 equipment, had to listen to the two of us for 4 hours. And afterwards, he said he wanted to do it. And we said, man, if you're that stupid, we're not going to stop you. And Felipe said, thank God, I got to get away from these two. I got to get my life back. So don't know if we've helped Felipe in his broadcasting career, or maybe he'll be sitting around in his 40s and he'll go, I spent 2 years with a couple of guys and they talked to me about this one day.
When he's working for Intersport.
Exactly. When he's working for MiamiHeat.com. I can't wait till 5 years from now when he goes, I really should have listened to those two. I should have reached out to these people sooner. Blank.
24. Same age, a year older. Are you 24 yet? No, you're 23, right?
I'm still 23, yeah. We're from the same class, though.
Okay. Both class of...
High school class of 2018, college class of 2022.
He has an older sounding voice than Felipe. Felipe sounds, closer to his age. Trent sounds older.
And definitely sounds like he's from Michigan. Like that was clear. I love the Michigan accent. I think it's funny.
Do I have a Michigan accent?
So it comes out sometimes for certain words.
Which is, well, I've got a couple of Jersey words.
Yeah.
But yeah, Trent's a Detroit Lions season ticket holder.
Like for example, the word cars, you'll say cars. It's okay.
Wow, he's a season ticket holder. So his first day on the job is the Lions' first Monday Night Football game in 5 years, and he won't be at it.
Right.
And I will.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
This is it. Last segment, home stretch. 22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. Bud Elliott, Seth Everett, our friends from Pro Football Network, maybe even a surprise guest, all on the agenda for tomorrow.
A surprise guest?
And I'm thinking maybe with everything going on, we even got to diversify the show a little bit more. Mark, the problem is we're a morning show. This just in. People really don't want to do a guest appearance when we're on the air.
I know that. And I do think, you're in tight with so many big-time people. If you're asking them, you've got to do it way before the broadcast start than when they're ending and trying to go to bed at 11:30.
Well, every time I ask Joe and Troy, they look at me and they go, "What time's the show again?" And I'm furious with both of them. I go, "You know what time the show is, okay? You're either going to get up and do it or you're not." And they go, "Well, it's going to be
In that case, I'm not.
Right. Okay, that's fine. But the show's been the same time for years. It's like last night. You have
I'm
to
just
go to bed?
appreciative you get up for the show, David, on Tuesdays.
Yeah, I mean, that last night, okay, Joe actually came back to the hotel, okay, and he and his wife, and they were there, and he's like, "You're going? What are you going to bed for?" And I just glared right at him, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, the show. What time you get up for that?" I go, "Don't you worry about it. You're not going to get up for it." And he's got 2 5-year-old boys. He's up. That's what I
Yes, he
said
had
to him.
67 nannies.
He's got one at least. Okay, that's what I said to him. I go, "What? You really? You know what the problem is? He's actually a doting father. He drives them to school every damn morning." And I told him, I go, "Can't you just
ride home? Time for us."
I go, "Can't you just put the money on the counter and let him go to school? I mean, come on. Stop with this, love parenting stuff. Let's talk sports." All right, whatever.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right, another day. I don't have a whole hell of a lot here. I feel like I've neglected this segment, but it was today in 1881 that Levi Morton, the U.S. ambassador of France to France, drives the first rivet in the Statue of Liberty.
What year?
1881.
Okay.
Today in 1885, the World Championship Baseball Series was held. The St. Louis Browns beat the Chicago White Stockings 13-4 in Game 7. But the disputed series was tied at 3 games to 1 tie.
Well, then what'd they do? Aggregate score?
No, that's it. It was disputed series, 3-1.
So they just stopped?
They just stopped.
They didn't declare a winner?
They did not.
Oh, it's a good thing social media wasn't around then.
1892, the Boston Beaneaters beat the Cleveland Spiders 8-3 for a 5-0-1 championship victory. It would be the last of the pre-modern era. The World Series would begin the next year.
Could you give us those 2 teams again?
The Boston Beaneaters beat the Cleveland Spiders. Billy Murray, not Bill Murray, Billy Murray today in 1908 hits the charts with Take Me Out to the Ball Game. 1926, Harry Houdini's last performance was in Detroit. 45, the Charter of United Nations comes into effect. Today in 54, Eisenhower pledges the United States support to South Vietnam.
Fortunately, that went nowhere. Okay, it was just send them, a couple of hams, some potatoes. We didn't get heavily involved at all.
Not at all.
20 years later.
Sandy Koufax wins the Cy Young unanimously today in 63. Today in 1973, John Lennon sues the U.S. government to admit the FBI is tapping his phones. They deny doing so, even though they were.
Really? I can't believe we lied. Are you tapping our phones? Hell no. Okay, but listen, you really shouldn't talk to your wife that way. I'm sorry, never mind.
Today in 92, the Blue Jays beat the Braves in Game 6 to win their first ever title. David, care to take a guess at who the MVP was of the 92 World Series?
Ooh, Roberto Alomar.
Pat Borders.
Oh, catcher.
And today in 2021, Tom Brady becomes the first quarterback in NFL history to record 600 touchdown passes when he hits Mike Evans in the first quarter of the Bucs' 38-3 rout of the Chicago Bears.
Remember those days, kids? The Tampa Bay Bucs, they were the defending Super Bowl champions when that connection was made. Ah, those were the days.
Y.A. Tittle born today. Kevin Kline is 76. Ian Baker Finch is 63. Wayne Rooney is 38. Drake is 37. And Jaylen Brown is 27. What did I miss, David?
So Kevin Kline is 76.
Yep.
And his wife is like 25 years younger, right?
Phoebe Cates.
Phoebe Cates.
Everybody go home and watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High and get back to me. And I guess I'm really just speaking to you, Felipe. In fact, just look up Phoebe Cates, Fast Time at Ridgemont High, then get back to me.
So got a lot of interesting things today. The first barrel ride down Niagara Falls was today in 1901. A 63-year-old school teacher, Annie Taylor, the first person to successfully take the plunge. Her husband died in the Civil War. She had lived a boring life for 35, 40 years. She said, you know what?
Let's go down Niagara Falls in a barrel.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. Let's spice things up a little bit. James Brown records Live at the Apollo today in 62.
All right.
That was a breakthrough album. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid opened today in 69. And the Concorde's final flight was 20 years ago today in 2003. Remember the Concorde was going to change travel. Instead, we just said, man, it's a funny looking plane.
Or, man, that's a loud plane. My dad worked at an office that was right next to the Miami International Airport, and a Concorde flew into the Miami International Airport, and every single day at 3 o'clock, the entire building would shake because the Concorde would be landing right over the building. It was an incredible plane that was horrible for the environment and extremely loud.
Better question. Could you have flown the Concorde?
Got to go back to our...
No, Felipe. Could you have flown the Concorde?
Oh, like actually pilot the Concorde.
Remember, you claimed early in your 2-year tenure here, you could fly a plane.
You could land a plane.
I think a better question is, could David be a passenger on the Concorde?
Absolutely, for the London game.
Felipe, I can sleep on any plane. Okay, absolutely. But could you land the sucker?
No. It'd probably explode.
So, that's all I got.
Just looked up Phoebe Cates, by the way.
Yeah.
Baby.
Uh-huh. That's right.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Going somewhere for the good that I usually go for the bad or the ugly. Cape Coral, where George Reith was working inside a first-floor condo, and he smelled smoke. He walked outside to find smoke and flames at the condo right next door. But instead of calling 911, he grabbed a garden hose and doused the flames through a broken window. He had the phone calling 911 in one hand, putting out the fire with the other hand.
Damn.
Yeah, way to go, George.
Guys, hold on a second. Stop. Okay, hey, if you get over and put this thing out, I'd really appreciate it.
We go to China for the bad, where footage on social media of someone emptying their bladder into the ingredients of a beer vat has authorities looking into the situation.
Oh,
come on, man.
Tsingtao Brewery on Monday informed consumers and investors of the investigation. The announcement came after a video of a hard hat donning man urinating into a large open vat at one of its factories.
Come on. You got to give us a warning.
And finally, the ugly, and one of the more obvious stories that I've ever read. A man attempted to rob a gun store.
Okay.
Gun store owner shoots and kills robber. He picked the wrong store.
You mean the guy behind the counter had a gun?
At the gun store.
Outgunned at the gun
The guy
store.
robbing didn't have a gun.
Well, I think he thought he could just grab one off the shelf.
Right. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on October the 24th, 2023.
That's just like walking into a military base naked, essentially.
Yes.
What's the difference?
Trying to rob a gun store without a gun. Wow. We got a little bit. Listen, we got a game 7. All right. I know it's on TBS, so it doesn't feel real. Okay. But it is. Arizona, it's another reason why it doesn't feel real. It's the Diamondbacks. I know. But game 7, NLCS, one of these teams is actually going to the World Series to face the Texas Rangers, game 1 on Friday. Texas with home field. Arizona, Philadelphia, 8 o'clock, TBS, game 7. NBA season tips off tonight. Doubleheader, both games on TNT. Lakers and Nuggets. Denver going to raise the banner. Their first one. Remember, they beat the Lakers in the conference finals last year along the way. And then Phoenix, after all their offseason moves, against Golden State, no Draymond Green, but Chris Paul. And is Chris Paul a starter on Golden State? Anyway, 7:30, 10 o'clock, the doubleheader on TNT. Everybody in the NHL tonight.
Every
right?
single team is playing. It's the frozen frenzy, David. 32 teams, 16 games.
And it's part of our poll question. What are you watching tonight? Game 7, NBA, the Frozen Frenzy, which has the Lightning at home against Carolina and the Panthers at home against San Jose. The Sharks 0-4-1 on the season. I think they're the only team yet to have a win. And college football tonight. You heard me. 7 o'clock, CBS Sports Network. New Mexico State and Louisiana Tech. If that's not good enough for you, how about unbeaten Liberty? 7-0. Trying to close out October, unbeaten. 7:30 ESPNU. They're a 5.5-point favorite. The line's moved a half a point during the show. 5.5-point favorite at Western Kentucky. So there you go. College football, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball. Not bad.
Full damn night.
For a Tuesday.
You really don't have to talk to your family all night long if you don't want to tonight.
Nope. Remember, 50 consecutive days of football. I think it's the night before Thanksgiving is the next time we don't have a football game.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
You know, the whole fake want to spend time with family thing.
Who do you like tonight?
Liberty laying the points.
Okay, but I was more concerned with the baseball game, but thank you for give me Liberty and lay the points.
Well, I believe John Paul Jones said that back in the day. But I like the Phillies. I mean, they're 6-1 at home in the playoffs. What are the odds that Arizona's going to win 2 in a row? Don't tell me, well, Texas just did it. Well, Texas has already done it. And Texas has rattled off a 7-game winning streak with 6 of them on the road. So give me the Phillies tonight. I do think it'll be a slugfest, though. I don't think either pitcher will be very effective. And this game's got like 9-6 written all over it.
Never knew Led Zeppelin's bass player said that, but I will take Philadelphia at home. John Kruk throwing out the first cheesesteak tonight. That'll get the Philly crowd all fired up. But I like the Phillies at home.
By the way, should Kruk throw out the first pitch to Schwarber? You know, one belly to another?
I think they should just eat. Take a couple bites out of a cheesesteak and start the damn game. Miller and Moulton, we'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center.